ballots. 19 of 30. 19 of 30 ballots Jackson Merrill was on. And that, to me, just shows you how incredible of a season the dude had. Now, I know that if you want to push back, you can push back. Benito Santiago, 1987. He was the Rookie of the Year. The last rookie to win the Rookie of the Year for the Padres in their franchise. And yeah, if you want to say that Benito still holds the best rookie season in franchise history because he won Rookie of the Year, okay, fine. But I'm looking at these numbers here, and I want to break these down. So, in 1987, Benito's rookie year. It was a very good season. Very, 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 very good season.
I was 7. How old were you?
I was -2. He had a 3.7 WAR in 146 games, 164 hits, 33 doubles, 2 triples, 18 homers, 19 RBIs. He hit 300, and he had a 791 OPS. He won Rookie of the Year, and he won a Silver Slugger. It's a damn good season for a catcher, too. You know, you don't see that many offensive seasons from catchers in the sport today. That's an incredible season. Now let's fast forward to Jackson Merrill's 2024 year. All right. A 4.4 WAR in 156 games, 162 hits, 31 doubles, 6 triples, 24 homers, 90 RBIs. He hit 292. He had an 826 OPS. He was an all-star, got a Silver Slugger, a top 10 MVP finish. He was an all MLB second team player. They didn't have that in 1987, so I don't know if you can really use that against Benito. And he was runner-up to Rookie of the Year. So I ask you, 70470, start your message with team. Or if you want to give me a call, 877-767-4760. Or if you want to hit us up on the talkback mic, just go to the iHeartRadio app, search out San Diego Sports 760, click on the little red microphone there, and leave us a talkback. Do you think, and I just broke down the numbers there and all the accomplishments, and yes, it's probably recency bias, I get it, because it just happened. Would you consider this year the best rookie season in franchise history over Benito Santiago, even though Jackson Merrill didn't win Rookie of the Year? I, personally, I say yes. I think it is. Nothing against Benito. Benito put up an amazing season. An amazing season. But I'm looking at some things here that Benito didn't accomplish, which was finishing top 10 in MVP voting, being an all-star, and Jackson Merrill had a better WAR, more home runs, more RBIs, a better OPS, played more games. If you want to say, well, hey, Benito as a catcher playing 146 games, you rarely see that at all in baseball. You don't see many catchers play 146 games behind the plate and put up those offensive numbers. Like it's very rare. Like who is there anybody in baseball that you could Adley Rutschman? I mean, Posey back in his day?
Not anymore. Like back in like the Mike Piazza days, if you want to go back that far.
Yeah. I know Posey put up a similar season.
Jason Kendall, like early in his career before his knees got shot, he was pretty good offensive.
I'm drawing a blank on the catcher for the Phillies.
The guy from the Marlins.
I'm drawing a massive blank.
Yeah, I know, because he's got that weird name.
I'm drawing a blank. Brent will find it, but those are kind of like the only catchers in the sport today that could put up
JT Realmuto.
Yeah, exactly. Every time I think of somebody and I draw a blank and then I hear that person's name, I'm like, I'm such an idiot because it's so easy. JT Realmuto, of course. Hey, if you think that Jackson Merrill didn't have a better rookie season than Benito Santiago, I'm not really going to fight you on it. I'm just going to give you my opinion, and my opinion is I think Jackson's was better. And it still doesn't make sense to me how Jackson Merrill was on 19 voters' ballots for MVP, and Paul Skeens was on 1, yet Paul Skeens was a runaway Rookie of the Year. It just kind of goes back to these awards aren't really well defined, and when you vote on these awards, it's based up to interpretation. Like somebody could say, look, I think that this person had an MVP season because of the numbers he put up, or I think he had an MVP season because of the impact he had with his team. And we've seen a lot of MVPs in baseball win because of just sheer numbers. And then we've seen MVPs win because of how they helped their team win. So it's like, figure out the damn definition of the award. If it's most valuable player, then look at who is the most valuable to their team. That's also very hard to do as well, because how can you quantify who's more valuable than this player and who's more valuable than this player? But if I'm going to keep it as black and white as possible, Jackson Merrill being on 19 ballots for the MVP award, yet getting blown away in the Rookie of the Year, still, and it probably will never make sense to me. It just won't. It just won't. Again, am I losing sleep over it? No. Am I going to talk about it and complain about it? Yes, I'm doing that right now. Mostly because we have a 4-hour show.
That's why you're not losing sleep over it. You're getting it all out.
I'm getting it off my chest right now. Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. But I will continue to say that Jackson Merrill, I think he had a better rookie season than Paul Skeens. I just do. And if you disagree with me, okay, it's fine. But to me, Jackson Merrill had a better rookie season because he put up the numbers and of his impact on his team. Plain and simple. Paul Skeens is going to go down, and it sucks because, when you look at Paul Skeens' career, he'll always be known as Rookie of the Year. Jackson Merrill will never be that. Jackson Merrill will never be known as Rookie of the Year. I know Padres fans and us here will be like, well, he was our Rookie of the Year. And I saw the Padres tweet out something like that. Or fans will, say he should have been Rookie of the Year, but he'll never be known as Rookie of the Year, which is a bummer because he absolutely deserved it over Paul Skeens, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people agree with me. A lot of people in baseball agree with me. It's not just me sitting here, old man yelling at clouds, and everyone's like, dude, you're an idiot. Stop.
Well, there's been plenty of people who've won Rookie of the Year that went on to amount to absolutely nothing. So just because he won Rookie of the Year doesn't really necessarily mean he's going to have a better career path.
Oh, I agree. I by no means does Rookie of the Year winning that award mean that, definitively you're going to have a Hall of Fame career. You're right. There's been a lot of rookies in baseball that have not won Rookie of the Year and were better than the Rookie of the Year that year. Like, it happens in all sports. I go back to
like 2009.
Yeah.
The AL winner was Andrew Bailey. Household name.
Pitcher?
Yes, he's a relief pitcher.
Okay.
Or right-handed pitcher. And then the NL winner that year was Chris Coughlin from Florida. Cohagen, Coghin.
I have no idea who that is.
Exactly. That's my point. Is, those guys also have, Rookie of the Year put on their careers, email statement or whatever.
Nothing.
Too, and it turned out for nothing. So we'll see. I think just it's average for most pitchers these days to have at least one Tommy John surgery, and Skeens hasn't had his yet. So it's hard to say that, he's going to be the next, Greg Maddux or Roger Clemens, just because it's so common for guys to just, have that word, Jim, shoulder surgery.
Shoulder surgery.
So I don't know. I think just from a health standpoint, I think it'll be easier for Jackson to stay healthy opposed to Skeens.
I agree with that. And it depends on where they're going to put him. Are they going to keep him at center field, or are they going to move him back to the infield? I hope they don't move him back to the infield. I hope they just keep him in center field and just let him develop there, because he was fantastic this past season. But in the end, in my opinion, Jackson Merrill just put together the best rookie season in franchise history, even though he didn't win Rookie of the Year. And going forward, as long as Jackson Merrill continues on this trajectory of his career, in 3 or 4 or 5 years will probably be, just a little disappointed still that he didn't win Rookie of the Year. But if he's putting up all-star seasons and helping lead the Padres to the postseason and hell, have a postseason moment or, help this team win a World Series, then winning Rookie of the Year will be a distant to those things that he can accomplish. But he still had a better season than Paul Skeens. We have some breaking news in the NFL, Brent, and it involves my 49ers. And because of this breaking news, a long streak will be broken. I'll tell you what that streak is that is broken and going to be broken this weekend coming up next. Welcome to Talkback Mike. Just open up the free iHeartRadio app, listen to San Diego Sports 760, and tap that little red microphone icon next to the play button and leave a 30-second talk back. Today's question for Talkback Mike, in your opinion, who had the better rookie season in franchise history, Jackson Merrill or Benito Santiago? There's no wrong answer. Just who do you think? And a couple texters make a great point. If you want to text us, 70470. Start your message with team. 760 number says, hey, Jim, a big thing about Benito's rookie year is that he had a 34-game hitting streak. Very good point. That's why he was shoo-in for Rookie of the Year, and he had some historic value. Also, he was transformational defensively, basically invented throwing people out from your knees. You're absolutely right. Like that 34-game hit streak and his defense behind the plate. If you want to use that as reasons why you think Benito still holds the best rookie season in franchise history, again, I'm not going to argue. I think it's great to talk about, both of these rookie seasons and bring back Benito's year in 87 because of how great it was. And it's great to talk about it, and it's reason we're talking about it is because of Jackson Merrill. Jackson Merrill, without Jackson Merrill's season, we're not talking about Benito's 87 year right now. So I think that's great for both players that we're talking about them and talking about their great seasons. I personally think, and like I said, yes, I'm probably have recency bias here, and I'm okay with that. That what I saw from Jackson Merrill this year and the accomplishments that he had and the awards that he got and being an all-star and, essentially being named the second best center fielder in the sport behind only the unanimous MVP in the American League, Aaron Judge, and winning a Silver Slugger and being where he was in the MVP voting, being a top 10 MVP, I guess, player in the National League, to me, kind of puts that over the edge. Also, better power numbers, more RBIs, better OPS. And that's why I have him, in my opinion, you just witnessed the best rookie season in franchise history. So the breaking news in the NFL, yay. Brock Purdy's out this Sunday against your Packers, Brent.
Is that really breaking news?
It really is, yeah.
Well, we kind of figured he wasn't going to play, didn't you?
Well, it wasn't like official.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't official. They were keeping out hope that he was going to play. He was limited.
Did you have any hope that he was going to play?
I have no hope, regardless of if he's going to play or not, Brent. My hope is gone with this stupid franchise and team. There's no hope left. It's vanished. And now, I mean, does anybody know the name at all? Do you know this name, Brent? Do you know who Brandon Allen is? I mean, I know who he is, but do you know who Brandon Allen is?
No.
Exactly. Brandon Allen will now be starting at quarterback for the 49ers this Sunday on the road in as close to a must-win game for the 49ers as possible against the Packers. Brandon Allen, he was on the Rams and during, I think, their run to the Super Bowl.
He's 32.
He's been around for a while.
I kind of figured to see like 24 or something by his name. That's why I've never heard of him.
And
Arkansas.
Okay. Yeah, he's gonna be starting this weekend for the Niners. Nick Bosa's also out for the Niners as well. And because of this, there's a streak in the NFL that I didn't even know about, and I should have known about this. But a streak is now officially going to be broken this Sunday. And that streak is the 49ers in 36 consecutive regular season games have been the favorites. 36 straight games dating back to 2022. They have been the favorites in every single regular season game they have played since that season. That's a pretty long stretch. Now you might think, wow, that's got to be an NFL record, right? No, not an NFL record. Not. The record.
Patriots
are number one from 2016 to 2020. It was 63 consecutive games they were favored in the regular season. Second most all time is the, I guess at the time, St. Louis Rams. It's weird saying that. St. Louis Rams from 1999 to 2002, the Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk,
greatest show on turf.
Greatest show on turf days. They had a streak of 53. I think that was 53. Yeah. 53 games. Patriots had the most, and the 49ers are third at 36 straight. So a streak in the NFL is broken now. 36 straight games a team was favored in. Not anymore. Not anymore. You know what's going to happen?
They're going to start a streak of 36 games where they're not favored.
Yeah, exactly.
They're awful.
Yep, because they're awful and they suck, and they should just disband the franchise, and they should just sell the team and move them to
when are you gonna burn all your 49ers gear?
Bro, I already burned it. It's done.
Go full internet meltdown and just,
burn my gear for clicks and likes.
Yeah, make TikToks of you burning your McCaffrey jerseys in a dumpster somewhere.
Well, you know what's going to happen is Brandon Allen's going to play well this weekend, and everyone's going to be like, "See, I told you, Brock Purdy is a system quarterback, and if he wasn't in the Kyle Shanahan system, then he would suck. Look what Brandon Allen did. He's just as good. Brandon Allen's just as good as Brock Purdy."
I would say that, but all the elements that would make him a system quarterback, they're not there either.
True.
At least a lot of them
No
aren't.
Brandon Ayuk. They will get George Kittle back. No, Debo's there.
Oh, Debo's still there? Okay.
Debo, Juwan Jennings, Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, Kittle, Trent Williams will play. So it's going to be essentially like the A team minus a couple guys, and then Brandon Allen. And then Nick Bosa is not there for defense. And without Nick Bosa, this defense is just not the same. So if you hate my Niners, congratulations. You get to watch a Niners-led team with Brandon Allen at quarterback, and they will be the underdogs for the first time in 36 straight games.
That sucks because this is the one week I was actually going to root for the 49ers for once. And now it's like, pff, what a waste.
Yeah, the first time.
I'll just go watch Gladiator or something instead.
Exactly. I'll probably go watch Red One or some stupid movie. I don't know. Do they have?
I heard that's pretty stupid.
I heard it's pretty stupid as well. Is Avatar in theaters at all? No.
No.
Oh, okay.
You have to wait. Once another movie beats it, then Cameron will get all jelly and he'll re-release it. That's his thing.
Yeah. Hopefully, the next time he releases an Avatar movie, it's during an NFC title game, and the Niners are in it with Brandon Allen as their quarterback.
Well, you won't have to worry about that this year.
No, you won't, Brent. No, you won't. All right, coming up later in the show, Cynthia Freeland is going to be joining us. Darnay Tripp going to be joining us in the 3:00 hour. But coming up next, JD Luster. If you missed that interview the other day, JD Luster joined us talking about the Gonzaga game on Monday night and previewing their upcoming NIL tournament next week in Las Vegas. You'll hear from JD Luster coming up next. All right, this update is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. We'll start. They made news today. They signed Tyler Wade to a 1-year, $900,000 deal, the 2025 season with the $1 million club option for 2026. Tomorrow, San Diego State takes on Utah State, 10:30 a.m. pregame, 12:30 kickoff right here on San Diego Sports 760. Tomorrow night, we have Lakers basketball. They take on the Nuggets, 7:30 tip time. You can also listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And this just in the NFL, Brock Purdy has been ruled out for the Niners game against the Packers this weekend. Brandon Allen will be the starter for the Niners. Yay. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. That's progressive.com/careers. All right, back here on Jon Jim on Friday. John's out. You know that we were looking at the timing of things, Brent? So Thanksgiving's next week. John's also going to be in Las Vegas for the NIL tournament Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then he has a football game on Saturday back here at Snapdragon Stadium. John will not be on the radio for like 10 straight shows.
Well, I think we only
have 10 straight days.
Yeah, well, we only have shows Monday and Tuesday, and then
correct.
We don't have shows the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So.
After the show yesterday, he goes, "Oh, I'm not going to be doing a show for like 10 days. Have fun. Bye." So I was like, all right, whatever. It's great. JD Luster, San Diego State assistant coach, was on the show the other day. We talked to him about Gonzaga, how that game went, and his thoughts on that game, and of course, previewing the upcoming NIL tournament next weekend in Las Vegas.
Jon and Jim, as always, it's a pleasure to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
In regards to Monday against Gonzaga, I thought there were some things where, it was encouraging to a certain standpoint. Us having a young team, having guys that are inexperienced as far as playing at that level, playing on that stage to go against the number 3 team in the country in Gonzaga, who has a lot of veterans. They're one of the older teams in the country. They had 80% of their scoring coming back. So for us, being a young team with guys like Magungwa, guys like B.J. Davis, guys like Miles Heide, who didn't play a lot last year or in meaningful minutes last year, guy like Miles Bird, who's in a new role. So we have a lot of guys where, it's their first. It's their first time going around as far as being in the gauntlet and playing at a high level and playing against these caliber teams. And with that being said, I thought there were some things that, we left being encouraged by. I thought for the most part, we fought for 40 minutes, and there was a lot of good things that we could build from and move forward as we go into Las Vegas.
JD, you mentioned B.J. Davis there. He had a really good game against Gonzaga. Just how impressed are you with his growth from last year to this year? And of course, every player is still growing, but just for him, from where he was last year to this season so far, 3 games in, just how impressed are you with his growth there?
I'm very impressed. BJ was a guy I watched a lot in high school, and throughout his high school career, he was a dynamic scorer, dynamic playmaker. He had 2 years in a row where he was a 90, 50, 40 guy. So he shot 90% from the free throw line, 50% from the field, and over 40% from the three-point line. So he has a track record of being able to really score the ball at a high rate and be really efficient. And I think now, our fans and you guys are having an opportunity to witness that. So, I'm not surprised at all because of his work ethic and how dynamic of a scorer he's been throughout his high school career.
He's been fun to watch here in, again, a brief period of time to start the season. JD Luster, San Diego State men's basketball assistant, is with us. What have been your impressions of Nick Boyd, who's a veteran player that had success both individually and team-wide at FAU, but spent the summer to boot, but he's really played some high-level basketball. What's it been like to coach Nick Boyd so far this year?
Man, it's hard to put into words what it's been like to coach Nick Boyd. He's a unbelievable person, first and foremost, away from the court. And on the court, he's just so mature. His experience is something that seeps through our team every single day. He dealt with injuries throughout this summer. And I've never been around a guy who was more locked in and more involved when he's out. When he was hurt this summer, he would come to every practice with a pen and pad, and he was taking notes. He was watching film, and he has a very mature approach to the game and a very mature approach to everyday life. He's a guy who lives in the gym, and he's always trying to get better. He's always competing, and he's always trying to get better. And because of that, he's rewarded when those lights come on and it's time to play the games. So it's been fun to reap the benefits of all his hard work and be rewarded for just who he is, for his daily habits on a consistent basis.
Yeah, Nick Boyd had a great game on Monday night. It was a big test for Magoon Guath going up against Graham Ike. Magoon, he's not played much collegiate basketball in his career, but for his shot blocking ability, how impressive is that he is already one of the most elite shot blockers in the nation at such a young age and so young in his basketball career.
Yeah, he has a God-given ability to be able to have a knack for the ball, be able to have great timing when it comes to shot blocking, and he's able to use his length and athleticism on that side of the ball. And, for Magoon, most freshmen, they come in and, it's kind of a filling out process. Well, with our schedule this year, he's kind of been thrown in the fire right away. Mm-hmm. Most freshmen, their second game, their third game, second Division I game is in Gonzaga. Their third Division I game usually is in Creighton, the number 14 team in the country. So it's unfair. And I talked to him about that yesterday. Like, most guys, they're not throwing in the gauntlet right away. But these are the cards he's been dealt. And I think as the year goes on, he'll benefit from it. And in January, February, as Aztec fans and as coaches and players, we'll be able to reap the benefits of him being put in this fire right away.
I think it's well said. JD Luster's with us, San Diego State men's basketball assistant, a San Diegan, played at Hoover High. So you mentioned Creighton, top 15 team from there. Oregon, is picked to be, a team that could absolutely make an NCAA tournament. We'll see about who you play on Saturday. How do you look at this upcoming week? What type of opportunity is this, and what do you hope to see out of SDSU?
I think the Gonzaga game, a lot of people, I know on our record it's a loss, but the way we look at it is a lesson. So we got to build from that lesson. We got to take the things we learned from that lesson and implement them in the next game and the next week. Creighton, they do a lot of similar things as Gonzaga. They play real fast. They run a lot of ball screens with Ashworth, just like Gonzaga played fast. They ran a lot of ball screens with them hard. So as a staff, we want to see the growth from game to game. So the areas where we made mistakes in transition, we hopefully don't have them same mistakes this game. The areas that we made mistakes in ball screens, hopefully we don't make those same mistakes this game. So, Coach Dutch talks about all the time, he sees it as a journey, and we're in the beginning of our journey. So as we go through the journey, our goal is to keep getting better. So at the end of the journey, when it counts, we'll be playing at our best. So we're going to take it a game at a time. It's not about our opponents, it's about who we are as a program and keep getting better. So every game next week, the goal is just to keep getting better.
Miles Bird went scoreless against Gonzaga the other night. I mean, obviously dealing with his injury and not practicing, but do you think, practicing this week leading up to the NIL tournament next week will help him get back into rhythm, you think?
Absolutely. He didn't practice leading up to the Gonzaga game, and also with Reese Waters out, Bird is one of the guys, it's a new role for him. He's at the top of people's scouting reports now. Mm-hmm. So everything is harder when you're at the top of the scouting report. So simple plays, when you get an away screen, you got to set your man up, because they're not just going to let you come off of an away screen and catch the ball because you're at the top of the scouting report. So these are adjustments that Bird is learning, and as we go from game to game, he'll continue to grow, and his production will continue to grow. So again, for our team, with our young team, everything's a learning process. And I think as we go through this season, as our journey continues, I think the fans and everybody will see the growth and the improvement. And I think by the end of the journey, everybody will be happy with the growth and the improvement.
JD Luster's with us right now. I've heard Brian Dutcher refer to you as an elite recruiter. And you've got this upcoming event in Las Vegas, which is an opportunity for this team, but it's also an opportunity for the Mesa Foundation Collective. It presents an opportunity for future recruiting. It presents an opportunity for retaining the roster moving forward as well, and you're heavily involved in recruiting. What will this event mean? Not on floor, but what this could mean for the Mesa Collective and what that in turn means for San Diego State basketball moving forward.
Well, I think a lot of people have mixed emotions on NIL and the whole pay-to-play thing concept, and I'm in the same boat. I have a lot of mixed emotions with it as well, but it's the new lifeline of college basketball. It's like, in order to be good, you gotta have NIL. You gotta raise money. You gotta be elite in that area. And I think this event helps us in that area. It helps us be able to raise money so we can go out and continue to be good moving forward. The reality of it is now, if you don't excel in this area as far as NIL, the chances of San Diego State being able to continue to do what we've been able to do, which is win at a high level, win conference games, make it to a national championship, make it to back-to-back Sweet 16, it makes it a lot harder if you don't have the equity as far as NIL. You don't have the money.
All right, I have one final one for you because I saw on social media that Mesa and the team was out at your high school, right? Hoover High School. So Mesa partnering with Feeding San Diego to support the student-run food pantry that they put on over there at Hoover High School. What was that experience like for you and members of the team? That was this week, right?
Absolutely. That was this Tuesday. I think any opportunity that you have to give back and be a vessel and inspire people, I think it's an opportunity that you got to take advantage of. And to me, that's what life's about. Life is about what you do for other people. So in this instance, we were able to go to my alma mater and help people. But the most important thing is that we were able to help people. And I think it was a beautiful thing. I love what my alma mater, Hoover High School, is doing. They've created an opportunity where they not only feed the less fortunate students on campus, but they also feed the community. And we were able to come in and just, help aid in that in that goal this past Tuesday, and it was neat. It was a great experience, and I think it really put in perspective for our guys, how fortunate we are to be able to, attend San Diego State, work for San Diego State, and be able to play the game of basketball at a high level. And, some kids are in high school and they don't know where their next meal is going to come from. That's their reality. So I think it puts in perspective what we do and, the importance of, man, just go out and have fun because you're blessed to be able to do what you do.
Well said. Really well said. JD, we appreciate you taking time. We're looking forward to seeing you guys out in Vegas beginning Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760, the Players Era Festival. Appreciate it, JD. Travel safe. We'll see you next week, all right?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. God bless.
All right, so the Aztecs NIL tournament next Tuesday morning, 11 a.m. against number 14 ranked Creighton. Of course, you can listen to that right here on San Diego Sports 760. All right, coming up next, Jameis Winston is the absolute best. You'll hear why. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, back here on Jon and Jim on a Friday, riding solo till 6 p.m. And if you're listening right now and you're wondering, why are you on? It's not 3 o'clock yet. Well, this was our very first week of 4-hour shows. Dun, dun, dun. So this has felt like a long week, Brett, man. It
feels like we've been doing it for 4 years, doesn't it?
It's felt like a long week. It's one of those things where, like, you know, if you're a pitcher and you're not built up to go deep into games and you get to the fifth inning, you're like, dude, I am spent. That's kind of like how this is, you know?
We're like Blake Snell. Instead of getting warmed up, we've been streaming Call of Duty games and stuff for months. And
we've been...
We'll be ready mid-July.
Yeah, we'll be hopefully fully built up by the start of the baseball season in a couple months. But yeah, as of right now, it's a little bit of a grind. Not gonna lie, 4 hours. It's tough, but you know, at the same time, I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. And you know, when Jon gets back, I guarantee you, he'll be like, dude, what the heck, man? Because he's not doing these 4-hour shows for another 10 days. And when you're off for that long, it's like I'm not gonna say riding a bike, but
Jon doesn't know how to do that. So
that's true. He's true. But it's a little bit like when I'm off for a couple days, other than just the weekend, and I come back, it's like, what the hell? Did I forget how to speak? It takes a little bit to get back in the rhythm. So when Jon gets back, me and you are gonna be vets at this. We're gonna be like 4 hours. When he gets back, he's gonna be like, wait, what? So Jon is I think still flying to Logan, Utah right now. We'll try to catch up with him later in the show. Darnay Tripp's gonna be joining me at 3:30. Cynthia Freeland joining me at 5 p.m. But last night, Thursday night football, Browns Steelers didn't really intrigue me that much, other than
till it started to snow.
The weather, which was awesome. I mean,
I love a good snow
football
game.
In the snow. I'm a Cali boy, so it doesn't really hit me like it might hit you different because you're from the Midwest, and it's for me. I'm like, ooh, snow, yo, it's cold, no, yucky. Like
I don't want to like be in the stands for it, but if I'm at home, you know, warm under blankets watching it, I love snow games.
So the snow is
especially
awesome.
Like last night when it was just coming down so hard at one point where you couldn't even, like that one field goal. Al Michaels couldn't even tell if it went through the uprights because he couldn't see the ball through all the snow. Like those are the best. If it's gonna snow, blizzard snow.
It was a very enjoyable game to watch because of that, and it wasn't like a bad game. Like some snow games or some weather games, I would argue that the worst weather is not snow for football. It's definitely rain. 100%. Snow, you can at least move the ball down the field. And last night it was a good game. And Jameis Winston, our beloved Jameis Winston, I wish he was like better, because him on the field, the Jameis Winston experience, it's not just on the field, it's also off the field. And some of his pregame speeches are freaking hilarious. Listen to his pregame speech last night before they went out on the field.
Now make sure we keep our priorities straight, because it only matters about us. Not the lights, not the cameras, not the action. It's about the action.
Play that again.
Now make sure we keep our priorities straight, because it only matters about us. Not the lights, not the cameras, not the action. It's about the action.
It's not about the action. Oh wait, no, it's about the action. Dude, I freaking love Jameis Winston. Like what did he say? How did he say priorities? He's like priorities. It's so good.
Now make sure we keep our priorities straight, because it only matters about us.
He is freaking amazing. I love Jameis Winston. And it only gets better, by the way, because when he talks to the media, you hear stuff like this pregame.
You have said you don't become a Brown until you beat the Steelers. What will it take tonight?
The horse is prepared for battle, but victory comes from the Lord.
Yes.
So I'm dependent on the Lord.
Is that the message to the team?
Day by day, one play at a time. That's the message.
weather conditions tonight. We're expecting winds up to 15 miles per hour and a wintry mix. How will that impact your ability to throw the ball?
I'm so happy and grateful that the Lord has blessed me to play in some snow, to be in true football weather in Cleveland, Ohio at Huntington Bank Field today to give him the glory. It's a beautiful day.
Sure feels like you're playing in the AFC North.
It is. It's magical. Thank you.
You have said.
I mean, it's got the vibe of like the AFC title game. Like the horses are ready for battle, and now it's in the hands of God. So freaking good. So good. And then post game, we have time for this, Brent. Post game, after the win, you know that Jameis Winston's going to come with a fire press conference. This was Jameis Winston talking about playing in the snow post game.
Man, it really was amazing. Like I was just praying on the sideline because that fourth quarter, it really was like it was a whole paradigm shift. Like we were playing so well offensively, and then bang, bang, back-to-back drives with turnovers. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is really an NFL's film moment. The snow starts pouring down. It starts getting like I felt like my feet started getting heavy because I'm squishing through the snow. And man, it was so good. And it was so great to end up getting that win.
Jameis Winston is by far my favorite soundbite in the NFL.
I just think it's funny because like the middle one, I won't play off it.
Become a
But
Brown
when he just
until
starts
you
to
beat the
ramble,
Steelers. What will it take tonight?
Ultimate Warrior.
The
You're
horses
playing
prepare
something
for
right
battle,
now.
I know.
Oh,
but victory comes from the Lord. So I'm dependent on the Lord.
Because the Ultimate Warrior, when he used to cut his promos, Jim, when I was a kid, they made absolutely no sense. He would just start rambling about rocket ships and outer space, and
Like,
they'd just be like, "So, how are you going to beat Rick Rude tonight? There's aliens and motherships, and it's like, what?
dude, it's the best soundbite in the NFL, and it's not. It's there. There's no. It's not even close. It's not even close. We are definitely going to replay some more Jameis Winston later in the show. But coming up next, is Shohei Ohtani recruiting Roki Sasaki? Ohtani was asked that question the other day. We'll talk about that coming up next. All right, this update is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. We'll start with breaking news in the NFL. Brock Purdy has been ruled out this weekend for the Niners against the Packers. Niners are underdogs for the first time in 36 straight regular season games. Brandon Allen will start for the Niners this weekend. Padres news. Padres and Tyler Wade have agreed to a 1-year, $900,000 deal for the 2025 year with a $1 million club option for 2026. Tomorrow, San Diego State takes on Utah State, 10:30 a.m. pregame and 12:30 kickoff right here on San Diego Sports 760. And tomorrow night, we have Lakers basketball right here on San Diego Sports 760 as they take on the Nuggets at 7:30. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits in one of the country's top workplaces? Join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. That's progressive.com/careers.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home.
Nobody resonates more than AJ Preller in the trade market. He does go big fish hunting. He does land names. Now, I don't know if names equates to winning a World Series or not. I thought he did a good job last year. My point is there's always going to be top 10 prospects in their organization. When you trade away the top 10 prospects, guess what happens? They backfill.
The problem is it takes some time. Like after the trades of 2022, didn't really make that many moves in 2023. That's what I'm a little afraid of this upcoming season, is that it will take time to rebuild his system.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
Hour 2 of our brand new 4-hour Jon and Jim. Jon is gone today. Me and Brent are taking you up to 6 p.m. on this Friday afternoon. Darnay Tripp's going to join us at 3:30. Cynthia Freeland at 5 p.m. Jon, if he's not soft in the 5 p.m. hour from Logan, Utah, will join us. And until then, just sit back and enjoy the next 3 hours of Jon and Jim. If you're wondering, wait, you guys, didn't the show just start? Like, no. This week is our start of our brand new 4-hour show from 2 to 6 p.m. here, weekdays, Monday through Friday. So, yay, lucky you. Lucky everybody out there. You get more of me, Jon, and Brent.
Jon's probably just in heaven right now. This is going to be his favorite road trip.
He
friggin' loves Utah.
Oh, I know he does.
They go every time
every
time he goes on vacation. It's like, where are you going? You going to like Hawaii or Bermuda or I'm going to Utah.
Going to Utah, bro. Love me some Park City, Utah. So we'll see if we can talk to Jon. I know he said, I'll join you for 2 segments tomorrow, dude. I got you. I know how tough it is to do a 4-hour show and blah, blah. And then he texts me. He's like, actually, I'm probably not going to be able to join you, but we'll see. Roki Sasaki, the latest with him, not much has changed. But yesterday, when Ohtani won his, third MVP?
Yeah, I think so.
By the way, third unanimous MVP. When's that happened? I am too lazy to look it up. But his third MVP, all 3 of them were unanimous. I don't know how many players in the sport have had more than 1 unanimous MVP, let alone 3 unanimous MVPs. But it has to be like a record.
There have been 23 unanimous MVPs.
Right, but how many of those 23, and I think Ohtani might be lumped into that 23, have had multiple unanimous MVPs is the question. I don't know if you could find that. It's probably tough to find. But of those 23 unanimous MVPs, how many of those unanimous MVPs have had multiple unanimous MVPs? My guess would be Bonds.
No, he's the only player to have multiple unanimous MVPs in 2021, 2023, and this year.
Yeah. Okay. So congratulations to Ohtani, but the story isn't about Ohtani. I don't care about Ohtani. Screw Ohtani. He was asked about recruiting Roki Sasaki. And, we've dealt with this here in San Diego with Seiya Suzuki, the outfielder. And I remember when Seiya Suzuki was posted and a free agent, and there was reports out that Yu Darvish, who was on the Padres at the time, told Seiya Suzuki, yeah, Chicago's great. Because if you remember, obviously, the Padres traded for Yu Darvish from the Chicago Cubs, and Yu Darvish was in Chicago for a little bit. And he's telling Seiya Suzuki, yeah, Chicago's great. Love Chicago. Love it. Chicago's awesome. Go to Chicago. You'll have a great time.
Put pickle spears on hot dogs. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Chicago dog, they're the best. Love it. Deep dish pizza, you're gonna have it every night. Every night, deep dish pizza. So when I see questions to Shohei Ohtani about recruiting Roki Sasaki, I mean, you would think, of course, like Shohei came up with this master plan to have all of his money deferred in order to give the Dodgers extra chances to sign superstar players while he makes $2 million a year for the next 10 years, right? Says Roki Sasaki, almost said say Suzuki. Roki Sasaki, teammate of him in Japan. They're friends. They're close. Maybe not as close as we might think. Maybe they're closer than we think. I don't know. But Ohtani, when asked about Roki Sasaki, said this, quote, I haven't really been recruiting him in any way. Obviously, we'll stay in contact. I consider him a friend. Says he won't recruit him to the Dodgers. He'll respect his decision. Sure. Winky face. Yeah, okay. Sure. Yeah. Bro, if the Dodgers come to you, if Andrew Freeman comes to you and says, look, Ohtani, bro, we have a chance to get Roki here. Can you help us out a little bit? Guess what? All Shohei needs to do is take out his phone, send a text, and that probably is enough. Now, you can hopefully say the same thing about Yu Darvish, because reports are that he views Yu Darvish as like a godfather figure to him, Roki Sasaki, not Shohei Ohtani. And I would hope these players are recruiting. Like, if I'm a Dodger fan, which thank God I'm not, if I was a Dodger fan, I would be like, Shohei, bro, what are you doing? Recruit this guy. Just like I'm saying with Yu Darvish. I'm like, hey, you, why are you not texting this guy all the time saying, come to San Diego? Or whenever he gets posted, come to San Diego. If in radio there was a free agent out there, and they were deciding between two radio stations, right? And I was buddies with them or her, I would absolutely, and they were choosing and deciding and asking me questions, I would 100% recruit that person to come here. I would be like, you know what? Take all of your following and your ratings and go somewhere else. That's fine. Like, no, I would want to recruit them to be a part of this team. So I don't buy that one bit from Shohei Ohtani. I really don't. I think that he's playing it coy right now, and that there will come a time during this process when Roki Sasaki is posted that him and Roki Sasaki will eventually speak, and there will be some type of swaying happening, some type of convincing happening from Ohtani to Sasaki to come to the Dodgers. I truly believe that. I don't believe that Ohtani's just not going to try to, quote unquote, recruit him at all. It doesn't make sense to me.
Maybe he doesn't think they need him. Maybe he doesn't want to share the spotlight.
Bro, it doesn't matter who they have. Shohei Ohtani doesn't have to worry about anybody stealing a spotlight on the Dodgers. That's not happening. Even if Aaron Judge was on the Dodgers, guess who the biggest star on that team is? It's Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like competing for like Japanese endorsements and stuff like that.
Again, Ohtani will get all the endorsements. He'll get them all. And whatever's left that he doesn't want, and Yamamoto, Sasaki, you can take these. Whatever. It's fine. There's not going to be one big endorsement that's like, you know, we kind of want Sasaki over you, Ohtani. Like, it's. I don't see that happening. I don't envision that happening.
Well, they might, because, you know, he can't endorse multiple shoe brands. He has New Balance, so stuff like that. But I'm just saying, you know, maybe he just likes being the big dog, and he just doesn't want any other, you know,
I don't want anybody else here.
kennel.
I can do it all myself. 50-50 year. I got to have a 60-60 year. JP Morosi on MLB Network talked about Roki Sasaki and gave us the latest on his posting.
Ask you about the news we learned of regarding Roki Sasaki. We take you back to the Japanese game. Sasaki was expected to be here this year, still is expected to be here this year, but we understand there are some timeline protocols in place now.
Yes, the Commissioner Rob Manfred actually spoke recently about this week, and the new news here is that Sasaki is expected to be part of the next year's international signing class, which begins on January 15th. So he's still going to be part of Major League Baseball in 2025. We just will find out much later in the offseason. And what this means, guys, is that the posting window, which can be 45 days, is likely to begin somewhere in the early part of December, such that the 45 days stretches into that January 15 window. Now, he'd be posted no later than December 15th. That's part of the rule and the player transfer rules between MLB and NPB. So I would say the posting news, which we love when this happens, is probably going to occur right around the time we're at the winter meetings, which will be good for discussion around Major League Baseball as Sasaki becomes right up there with the Soto conversation and the Corbin Burns conversation as the most coveted players. But in some ways, he's the most coveted because of the international signing bonus rules. He's going to sign for a minor league deal somewhere in the range of $3 or $4 or $5 million, which means everybody wants Roki Sasaki.
So that's interesting. I would love that. Now, if that were to happen and he's posted during the winter meetings, it's not like, oh my gosh, the Dodgers are going to get him right now. No, it just opens up the 45-day window and it leaks into the 2025 year on January 15th. And it makes sense because you want to have as much time, if you're in Sasaki's camp, to have conversations with teams, even though there's a reported handshake agreement between him and the Dodgers, which I hope is not true. I'm praying it's not true. But if his agent is telling the truth, you got that 45-day window to kind of, vet everybody out and go through the process and not feel rushed or pressured to sign right away, and then still have enough time to get, prepared for a spring training and get, your family in order and where you're going to live and all that stuff. Because if, he got posted after January 15th and he still wasn't talking to any teams, because I don't think you can talk to teams until you're posted, that process would be like really quick. And if it were me, I would want some time, especially coming to the States, being a rookie. You're going to want to have as much time as possible. And as JP Morosi says right there, which I agree with him, and me and John have agreed this whole time, is like, other than Juan Soto, Roki Sasaki feels like, the number one target on a lot of people's lists because of the money and because of how you don't have to pay like a $300 million contract. And that's why it makes him so appeasing to a lot of teams out there. Like, I don't think he's going to the Oakland A's or the Sacramento A's or wherever the hell the A's are playing for the foreseeable future. But, the A's have a chance to sign him because of the money. They're probably not gonna, but you get my point. Is every team in baseball theoretically has a chance to sign Roki Sasaki. I just hope that it's obviously the Padres. And once this window gets opened up at the winter meetings in a couple weeks, game on. Then you'll start seeing a lot more rumors flying with AJ Preller, hopefully, in the Padres and their connection to Sasaki. And then, unfortunately, the connection with the Dodgers as well. And, he's such a sought-after free agent that once the Juan Soto news drops, which I would think it's going to drop here either during the winter meetings or shortly after. I don't see this thing dragging on into January. Like, get this thing locked up and done before Christmas time and get everything in order and be ready to go. But once the Soto news drops, whenever that is, then the number one free agent on the market, according to a lot of people, will be Roki Sasaki. And we'll be monitoring every single aspect of it, because on my board here, my free agent board for the Padres, which doesn't mean anything, but it's this whatever, it's my list of free agents that I want the Padres to go after. He is clearly number one on the list, and there's nobody even close to him. It's Roki Sasaki, a giant gap, and then you got like Jerkson Profar, and you have Kyle Higashioka, and that's my list right now. So We'll see. All right, coming up next, the Daniel Jones era is done in New York. I know a couple people in this building are happy about that. We'll talk about the disaster of a career in New York for Daniel Jones coming up next. All right, Darnay Tripp's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network, can join us at 5 p.m. for our weekly NFL hit. And we'll definitely be talking about Daniel Jones with Cynthia coming up at 5 today. He got released today from the New York Giants. The Daniel Jones era is over in New York. I know Thor.
Did it ever begin?
It kind of was like beginning a little bit. I know Thor over on the show on Rock 105.3. He all I see on his social media is just like, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Finally, this guy effing sucks. I mean, they had like a nice year a couple years ago. Now, granted, it was only a 9-win season, but they did make the postseason and they won a playoff game in Minnesota against the Vikings. But that was it. Like that was like the high watermark of the Daniel Jones Giants era.
I don't know. I think he was done as soon as like everyone started getting into that DeVito guy. Even
Tommy
though,
DeVito, who's starting this weekend.
Even though he sucks too, but it was just like, oh hey, look, Dad owns a pizzeria or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but there's something that everyone's just like, oh, look at this guy.
So, the question is, whose fault is it? Is it the owner's fault and the GM for signing Daniel Jones to a 4 years, $160 million contract with a $40 million a year salary? Or is it Daniel Jones' fault for sucking?
Both.
It's both. Yeah, it's both of their fault, because the owner giving Daniel Jones that contract, or allowing the general manager to give Daniel Jones that contract, knowing damn well he's not worth that money, and then Daniel Jones taking that contract and then turning around and not performing at all. It's like the Eric Hosmer deal here in San Diego. Like Eric Hosmer getting I forget how much money it was, 160 million, 100 whatever million, 144 million, sorry. $144 million contract from the Padres and Ron Fowler at the time. And then turning around and being awful. Whose fault is that? I watching every single day of Eric Hosmer, I have to put a lot of blame on Eric there, like more than the ownership for signing him to that contract, just because, when Eric was going through his struggles here and he was asked about changing things up to get better, he was so steadfast in his ways that he wouldn't change. And that was why I put more blame on Eric than the ownership here. But both share, blame in the horrible contract. And the same thing is in New York. John Mara and Daniel Jones, it just didn't work. And I think giving him that contract at the time they gave it to him was just ridiculous. It made no sense.
Well, it's part of it's the front office's fault, because they took a gamble and it didn't pay off. It's something that all the teams have to do at some point or the other. It's what the Bears had to do when Justin Fields. They had to decide, do we want to use, do we want to re-sign him, or do we want to cut him loose and get rid of him? Packers did the same thing with Jordan Love, to where, they gambled and they put their money on Jordan Love, and it's working out so far. But the Giants did the same thing and they doubled down. It's just like you said, they had a 9-win season, won a playoff game, but it's just, I didn't see anything that was just like, oh yeah, we got to lock this guy down. No, we can't let this guy go into free agency. It's just like, I said the same thing about Caleb Williams too this year. It's like I haven't seen too many things that it's just like, oh yeah, this is why everyone's like, oh yeah, you have to take this guy. He's this great talent. It's like Daniel Jones, you don't really see that, and they knew that. It's not like he was just like, oh yeah, he's played 4 years and 2 of them were good. It's like, no, he had like 1 good year.
And the thing with Daniel Jones is he had a pretty decent rookie season. Threw 24 touchdowns, only 12 interceptions, played in 13 games, over 3,000 yards passing, he had an 87 quarterback rating. Like that's a good starting point. And you were like, okay, we're going to get better from this. And he never got better. Now, is that all on Daniel Jones? No, because more so in football than any other sport, if you don't have good coaching, you are not going to succeed. Like, I think Caleb Williams can be a damn good quarterback. They need to get better coaching. I put more blame on the coaching for the Bears than I do Caleb Williams right now for him not succeeding right away. That's how I viewed this thing with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, while I never thought of him as like a great talent. I don't know, like he was never to me a top 10 quarterback to be drafted in a draft. But if you gave him better, players around him and better coaching. Maybe things are different. Maybe they're not. I don't know. Maybe Daniel Jones just always sucked.
This is another one of those things too, where I always complain now, where every year in the draft, now it's going to be the new USC quarterback. It's like, oh, this guy's he's the generational talent. He's the next great quarterback. And how often are they always wrong to where it's just like,
well, look at Trey Lance.
Well, exactly. See, the Mel Kipers of the world, they put these guys in these positions to where, they know that Trey Lance and, Daniel Jones aren't top 10 quarterbacks, but they're going to hype them up because nobody's going to watch the draft if they're like, yeah, all the quarterbacks this year, they're all like third, fourth round
suck.
Guys. Yeah, they suck. And it's just going to, don't even turn. You can just wait and skip the first 2 days of the draft. No, that's why, Sam Darnold is this generational. They say that like every single year, and it kind of puts these quarterbacks on an elevated pedestal to where it's like, you're not really good enough to where you should get this money, but we've hyped you up enough now, so we're just going to act like you're good enough.
Yeah, Daniel Jones was not good enough to be drafted as a top 10 quarterback coming out of college. He was not good enough to get the contract that he got, and the organization did not do him any favors with building a team around him. Everybody in that organization deserves blame, and Daniel Jones as well. Coming up next, Darnay Tripp, my best friend in the entire world, will join me coming up next. Hey guys, it's Jim from Jon and Jim, and at Hamul Casino right now, every Monday night is Monday Night Live. You can win a Mercedes-Benz C-Class brand new car every Monday night in November. You can earn entries all month long by playing their Monday Night Live, and on Tuesdays, you can earn entries each and every Tuesday in November, 2-time entries on Tuesdays. They have a bunch of other activities happening at Hamul Casino as well. Their Run Good Road Trip Poker Tournament happening right now through the weekend with a $200,000 guaranteed prize pool. It's an event that you guys will not want to miss. You can visit their website for more details or see any Poker Room team member for more. And Thanksgiving is coming up next week. We are less than a week away from Thanksgiving. You can celebrate Thanksgiving all month long at Burgers and Shakes with their Turkey Day Melt, or indulge in their Thanksgiving calzone at the pizzeria. Then on November 28th, you can join them at Tony Gwynn's Endless Dining for football and all your favorite Thanksgiving dishes. Speaking of Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, it is the place to be to watch all your favorite sporting events, including NFL, NBA, and NHL games. The experience is great. The food is fantastic. Get to Hamul Casino today. It's fun above all else. All right, this update is brought to you by Insurance. Will start in the NFL. We just talked about it. Daniel Jones has been officially released from the New York Giants, ending his career there. Brock Purdy will be out this Sunday for the Niners against the Packers. Brandon Allen will start for the Niners. Niners are also an underdog. First time in 36 regular season games that has happened. Tomorrow afternoon, San Diego State takes on Utah State, 10:30 a.m. pregame, 12:30 kickoff right here on San Diego Sports 760. Padres news of the day. The Padres and Tyler Wade, they've agreed to a one-year, $900,000 deal for the 2025 year with a $1 million club option for 2026. And then tomorrow night, we have Lakers basketball right here on San Diego Sports 760 as they take on the Denver Nuggets, 7:30 tip time there. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits in one of the country's top workplaces? Join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. That's progressive.com/careers. So when John's gone, it's almost a lock that I will be texting our next guest. And it's so funny because I won't even ask him. I'll just be like, hi, how you doing? And he knows exactly what I'm texting for. Donate Trip, NBC7, join us right now on Jon and Jim. When you see on your phone, like text messages from Jim Russell, when I text you, when John's gone, what's like the first thing that comes to your mind? Oh, crap, or something else?
It's okay. Jim's doing 4 hours.
Yeah.
I figured solo today
Mm-hmm.
because usually it's John that texts me.
Yeah.
And so when you text me, I thought, oh, right. He's probably on his way to Logan. It's
Yeah.
Jim going solo. He's on from 2 to 6. I thought, well, it is my day off.
Yeah.
Technically, I try and unplug. But knowing that you've got a long stretch of hours that you're covering solo, I didn't have anything. If I had like real plans, I was texting you. I was like, something might come up. I just want you to know. But, fortunately for you, things mellowed out. Nothing came together. And just out on a walk with the family right now. So
See,
figured I could hop on the phone.
This is a great friend, everybody. John, who could easily join me on his own show, said, nah, I'm not going to do it. And Darnay, with his family right now, is joining me because he knows that a 4-hour show is a difficult task. I appreciate you, Darnay.
I will say when you're traveling, for work and that sort of thing, he's going to have a long day tomorrow. You kind of want to experience wherever you are. Traveling can be difficult. You just want to get a good meal, walk around, get a lay of the land. So I can understand it from John's standpoint.
No, I can't. He's dead to me until he's on the show again. Darnay Tripp joining me graciously on his day off from NBC7 here on Jon and Jim. So, Darnay, I saw you talked a lot this week about Roki Sasaki on the On Fire podcast. You talked to Matt Friars, you talked to John Conniff and Kyle Glazer as well. When you think of Roki Sasaki, do you think like me and John that this has to be the Padres' number one priority this offseason?
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to really pinpoint anything else that would be beyond that on the list of priorities. I mean, there's the different kind of guys that they need, like Jerkson Profar, that have to need to figure out. Kaslin Kim, I think we all figure, is probably going to end up moving along. Kyle Higashioka, it'd be great to have Kyle Higashioka around. And then there's like the extension guys. But the extension guys are like, okay, it would be good to have that sorted out, but it's not as pressing. When you have a talent like Roki Sasaki, when you can get him, for a reasonable price, and have him for a few years before you got to shell out hundreds of millions of dollars. When you have Joe Musgrove healing up from Tommy John, and then just the threat of the Dodgers landing the guy, I think there's a lot of reasons why this should certainly be number one on the priority list. And the fact is, we've seen guys come over from Japan. We've seen Yamamoto. We've talked about him. We've talked about the Kodai Sengas of the world. But there hasn't been a guy that has come over at this stage in his career for this cost with this much hype, really since Shohei Ohtani. Obviously in a different category, Ohtani is, because what he can do for you as a two-way player. But all those factors make this guy somebody that you have to put all your effort towards. Hopefully you land him. If not, then look, button up those other situations, figure out kind of outfield, maybe another arm for the rotation. You'll be okay, but you'll be obviously better off if you can bring an arm of that caliber on, for the foreseeable future. Obviously, it helps you for 2025, but then becomes a really pivotal piece moving forward.
And if you don't land him, it feels like the likeliest place for him to go, unfortunately, is the Dodgers. The reports are out like, oh, handshake agreement. And of course, his ties with Ohtani and Yamamoto. This to me is such a crucial offseason for the Padres with not a lot of resources to work with money and trade chips, because, the likelihood of the Dodgers landing Roki Sasaki and then their interest level in guys like Corbin Burns and Juan Soto, they already won one World Series. They're trying to be a dynasty here. It just feels like it is so crucial for the Padres to, in ownership, like, hey, let's just push on the gas pedal a little bit more, because if we don't, this could become a big problem going here next year and into the future.
And I think you make a good point in that, like, the Dodgers are probably going to come away with something, right? Like, they're not going to come out of this offseason empty-handed. It's probably not going to be like it was. I think it was going into the 2023 season, maybe 2022. 2023, after they had already gotten Freeman, where they didn't do a whole lot going into 2023, if memory serves. And you felt like, did the Dodgers get worse? At most, they kind of stood pat. You don't get the sense that that's going to be the case. Whether it's a Juan Soto, I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. But you mentioned the Frieds, the Burns, the Snells of the world. Like, they're going to get one of those guys, and you just hope they don't get one of those guys and a Roki Sasaki.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's in play for them, but you would like to at least be able to kind of even things out a little bit. Come away with a guy like Sasaki, because you're not going to have to pay him as much as you would those other guys, and you kind of have a chip, so to speak. You've made a move knowing that the Dodgers are going to do that themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just so imperative that if you don't get Sasaki, like, he just can't go to the Dodgers. Like, if he goes to the Dodgers, it just feels like, you're just climbing this uphill battle that has gotten even steeper. Darnay Tripp joining me from NBC7 on his day off, walking with his family right now. We love you, Darnay. Thank you. And we love your family for allowing this to happen. Moving on to this past week with what happened with Jackson Merrill, losing out on the Rookie of the Year, and then finishing top 10 in MVP voting. What'd you make of that situation panning out? Like, getting kind of blown away in the Rookie of the Year voting by Paul Skeens, but yet finishing top 10 on 19 ballots for the MVP.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit funny, and I think we can all kind of have a laugh or roll our eyes at it a little bit. And it's a feather in the cap of Merrill to finish, ninth in MVP voting as a rookie, speaks to what he did for the team, being an everyday guy, playing defensively, all the clutch hits, the things that we've been talking about all year. And it's good to see that recognized, because, sometimes it feels like it takes like a Manny Machado 2022 or a Tatis 2021 type of season for these guys to get the recognition they deserve. Now Merrill's going to go into next year as a kind of proven commodity on everybody's radar. Obviously it's rare to see a pitcher win MVP. I think it's like 11 guys in baseball history who have done it. And so, I think Sale finished like 4th or something like that. You don't see pitchers, generally speaking, that high in the ballot. So there's that aspect of it. And I don't know, I guess you can maybe discern between the value of a player and like kind of the overall excellence of a player. Mm-hmm. And it seems like people prioritized or factored in just kind of overall excellence, the big numbers for Paul Skeens. Obviously, there's a ton of hype around him going into the year, being an all-star, as was Merrill. It is a little bit funny, why wouldn't you place more weight on the value of a guy? Because obviously Merrill was the more valuable player than Skeens was to his team. The fact that Skeens wasn't on the field nearly as often, didn't pitch a ton of innings, and he played for a team that wasn't really in the playoff mix for the majority of the second half of this season. I guess, kind of make peace with it to a degree. And I think we all probably expected Skeens to win Rookie of the Year. There was that moment in time in August where you felt like, okay, this might actually be Merrill's, but Skeens had an outstanding month of September. Yeah. You know, Merrill didn't. He played fine, but didn't exactly light it up. So it's tough, but look, you know, I think Jackson Merrill would probably have the type of season that he had, the experience that he had, the wins, the playoffs over a Rookie of the Year statue, knowing the type of player that he is.
Yeah, it was just a phenomenal season. Like, I was talking about this today early on. I thought even though Benito won the Rookie of the Year in '87, there's a really good case that you could say that this past year for Jackson Merrill was the best rookie season in franchise history, just with all of he accomplished. You know, even though he didn't win Rookie of the Year, it's just like everything that he did was just, for a 21-year-old kid, just absolutely amazing. Couple more minutes here with Darnay Tripp, NBC7, on his day off, joining me on Jon and Jim. What's your impressions of the Aztecs here early on? Obviously, they lost to Gonzaga on Monday night. They've had injuries, but so far, what's your early impressions on their team?
I mean, I think, I was watching that game on Monday, particularly the first half, thinking like, okay, like they confirmed what I think we knew, that like this is a real team. This is going to be like, this is a team that has potential to win games in March. How far they go, I don't know, but they don't strike me as a team that is a drastic drop off from what we saw a year ago when they made the Sweet 16. Their ability to play tough against a really talented Gonzaga team, super competitive. Defensively, they're going to be good against a really, really good team. Offensively, in terms of what Gonzaga is able to do. And then you factor in the fact that like Miles Bird was probably playing at like 25%, and Reese Waters was absent, and Magoon Guas, while he made an impact defensively, didn't score for you at all. So when you have a team that was far from the peak in terms of what we'll see from the Aztecs at some point this year against a really, really good Gonzaga team, I think you have to feel pretty positive about that. And then, the question becomes, how healthy is Bird next week? Can you escape with 1, maybe 2 wins, 3 if it's great in Vegas? And then get Reese Waters healthy, hopefully go on a run in the Mountain West. I think they're pretty well positioned, but even despite a double-digit loss, I come out of that game feeling really, really positive about the team's potential this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way. Tell Laura thank you for letting me steal you for a couple minutes. Tell your kids thank you.
She's been pushing the stroller. She had to push the stroller uphill.
Oh, really?
And I saw her, and she was kind of like, gave me this look. I was like, all right, let me take over. And then Poppy was starting to scream and throw things around a little bit. So we're good. We're good.
Okay,
we're surviving.
That's good.
But
I don't
should probably get back to stroller pushing duties.
Yeah, I don't want her to hate me and then you hate me and then never come on the show again. So thank you for joining me. Have a great rest of your afternoon, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, you too.
All right, later, man. Darnay Tripp, NBC7, joining us there on a walk with his kids and his wife. That's the type of friend you need. That's the type of friend you need, Jon. All right, coming up next, the Padres have made a move today, Brent. What is that move? We'll talk about it coming up next. the hot stove is like at a complete, I guess, lukewarmness. That's the thing. What's sweet like on low? It's on low temperature. Not even hot. Like I could put the hand on the oven.
We can't even boil an egg.
No, I could put my hand on the stove for like a half second and be totally fine. That hot. Maybe longer than a half second. Yeah, you put some water on there in a pot. It's gonna take a long time to boil. And the reason why that is because there's like nothing happening, no moves. And I would be shocked if there are any moves made in the next week, because you got Thanksgiving next week. It's a Friday. You're not going to have any moves on a Friday. And so I think the next big move will be at the winter meetings in a couple weeks. But that doesn't mean that there's moves the Padres have made today or haven't made today, because they have made a move today. It was a lot of non-tender guys moves, right? And they are bringing back Tyler Wadey. Of course they're bringing back Tyler Wade. Of course they're going to give him a contract. A 1-year, $900,000 deal. And then a $1 million option for the 2026 season. If I know anything about Mike Shildt, it's that Tyler Wade is one of his favorite players of all time. Of course Tyler Wade is not going anywhere. So that's the big Padres news of the day. John texted me. He goes, "You can talk about this for 4 hours." Tyler Wade returning to the Padres for a 1-year, $900,000 contract. I got about another 20 seconds left of me for Tyler Wade content. That's all I got. And then after that, it's pretty much going to be reserved for my updates. This is interesting. So predictions, right? Predictions on where players are going to go in free agency. I don't take much stock in it, but it's a 4-hour show. Got to talk about something. So we're going to talk about predictions for free agents. MLB Network has predicted these top free agents to go here. MLB Network and their analysts predict that Blake Snell will go to the Minnesota Twins. What? When have the Twins been linked with Blake Snell during the offseason ever? Now, it's not like been a long offseason so far, but still. Alex Bregman, they have returning back to Houston. Roki Sasaki, they have him going to the Mets. They have Corbin Burns going to the Angels. They have Juan Soto going to the Mets as well. And then MLB Network predicts, all their analysts predict that Max Fried will sign with the Padres. Let me just stop this right here. The Padres are not signing anybody this offseason for like $100 million contract. It's not happening. I would be shocked. Like the Blake Snells of the world, the Corbin Burns of the world, the Max Frieds of the world. No. The only player on the top 10 free agent list that the Padres have a realistic shot to sign, it to me is Roki Sasaki. Other than that, Max Fried ain't coming back to San Diego. You can go home again, but Max Fried will not come home again. Blake Snell ain't coming back. They ain't signing Corbin Burns. The only way Corbin Burns is going to be at Petco Park next year is if it's in a Dodgers uniform. Juan Soto? Nope, not happening. Roki Sasaki's it. Max Fried? No, I don't. I understand people's thinking of, well, the Padres need to make a big-time move. And while I agree with that, there's only one big-time move to make, and that's Roki Sasaki. Every other move, it's not going to happen unless I'm missing something here. And all of a sudden the ownership group with Eric Senda says, you know what? We actually are going to spend and have AJ Preller sign another big-time free agent for a long-term contract. The long-term contracts are over with this team. Over. O-V-E-R. I can spell that. Over. They have to be very savvy with the moves they make. If they want to get superstar players and all-star players, that's going to have to come via trade. And it's also going to have to come before those superstar players become, either free agent eligible or are under a big-time contract. Guys like Luis Ariz, who is under arbitration still. Guys like Dylan Cease. Guys like Michael King. Like, those guys have not gotten their big contracts yet. And they're affordable. But they are all-star players and guys that could, finish top 5 in Cy Young voting. Batting champions. That's how this thing is going to have to be constructed. They're not signing Manny Machado's anymore. Xander Bogaerts. I wish they never signed Xander Bogaerts, but can't do anything about that. So for the analysts out there that think, oh yeah, the Padres need to make a big-time splash, I think they could sign Max Fried. I think they could sign Blake Snell and bring him back. I think they could sign Corbin Burns. No, wrong. Unfortunately, not going to happen. Padres fans' only hope to sign a top 5 free agent in this class is Roki Sasaki. That is it. I hope I'm wrong. I would love for them to sign Max Fried. I would love for them to sign Blake Snell. But if they signed him, they're going way past the CBT, not just a little past the CBT, like way past the CBT. And then we're right back where we were with the ownership, saying we need to cut payroll again because we don't want to go past the CBT. We need to reset everything. A little past the CBT, I hope they go and do that. A lot past the CBT, not going to happen. Not going to happen. All right, coming up next, we have the wrap still. Also, Brent, I haven't seen. Do we have a giveaway today? Am I not?
I think we have Seals tickets. I'll check.
If you could check on that, because if we do, we'll be giving away those tickets or potential tickets to whatever we have coming up next hour. Also, if you want to hit us back on the talkback mic, do that right now. Just go to the iHeartRadio app, San Diego Sports 760. Hit us up on the talkback mic. Just hit that little red microphone there. The question of the day: who, in your opinion, had a better rookie season in Padres franchise history, Benito Santiago or Jackson Merrill? We'll figure out what we have to give away. And Cynthia Freeland will join us at 5 p.m. Stay with us right here on Jon and Jim. All right, this update is brought to you by Progressive. We'll start in the NFL. The news of the day, the Giants released Daniel Jones this morning, and Brock Purdy. He has been ruled out this weekend for the 49ers against the Packers. Niners will be underdogs for the first time in 36 regular season games dating back to the 2022 year. Moving over to Padres news. The Padres and Tyler Wade have agreed to a one-year, $900,000 deal for the 2025 year with a $1 million club option for 2026. Tomorrow, San Diego State takes on Utah State, 10:30 a.m. pregame, 12:30 kickoff right here on San Diego Sports 760. And also tomorrow night, you can listen to Lakers basketball as they take on the Nuggets at 7:30. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits with one of the country's top workplaces? Join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. That's progressive.com/careers.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home.
Nobody resonates more than AJ Preller in the trade market. He does go big fish hunting. He does land names. Now, I don't know if names equates to winning a World Series or not. I thought he did a good job last year. My point is there's always going to be top 10 prospects in their organization. When you trade away the top 10 prospects, guess what happens? They backfill.
The problem is it takes some time. Like after the trades of 2022, didn't really make that many moves in 2023. That's what I'm a little afraid of this upcoming season, is that it will take time to rebuild his system.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
Start of hour 3. Is that right, Brent? We're only halfway through?
Yes, hour trace.
We are halfway through our brand new 4-hour Jon and Jim on a Friday. Of course, John is gone. He is on his way to Logan, Utah. Me and Brent are holding down the fort until 6 p.m. tonight. Aztecs football on tomorrow, early afternoon, 12:30 kickoff, pregame at 10:30 with J.R. Tolver and Fletch right here on San Diego Sports 760. And then we get into Thanksgiving week when things get a little wonky here at the station because John's gone, and then we have Aztec basketball during the day, and then we got Thanksgiving break, and then we get into December, and then we get into winter meetings, and then we get into Christmas. And then once January hits, then I feel like the countdown is on for spring training and baseball. But until then, we'll be with you for 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday. All right, Brett, let's get to it.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Did Jackson Merrill have the best rookie season in Padres franchise history?
I am going to die on that hill and say yes. I just am. I obviously was negative 2 years old when Benito had his rookie year in 87. And I can only just look at highlights and stats and watch it. And he had a great year. I just think Jackson had a better year. I think all that he accomplished and being on a winning team makes it, to me, a better season than Benito. I wish that Jackson won Rookie of the Year because then definitively I think everybody could say that. But without that award, you got 2 rookie seasons here, the 2 best in franchise history. However you rank it, whoever's on the top of your list, I'm not going to argue it. But for me, my opinion, it's Jackson Merrill. It's Jackson Merrill. Next question, Brian.
It's Myers.
Will
Myers.
Will Myers was not a rookie here. He got traded here.
Yeah, I know. It's a joke.
It's Will Myers.
That was a joke.
Next question.
This is genius, by the way. Should the Cowboys sign Daniel Jones to play him against the Giants on Thanksgiving Day?
Yes, 100%. If they don't do it, what the hell is wrong with them?
It would make the game more interesting. I know that much.
It would be, and I'm not kidding. It would be the greatest, not only troll job in sports history, it would be the smartest move of recent memory. You sign, it's like you got Cooper Rush and Trey Lance. You're not going anywhere. Your team sucks. Daniel Jones is better than a lot of quarterbacks in the league that are getting starting time. He's better than Brandon Allen of the 49ers right now. The reason why Daniel Jones is put into a category of, yeah, the guy sucks, is because of the contract. If he wasn't making $40 million a year, it's time for the wrap. If he wasn't making $40 million a year, then people wouldn't be as upset with him. But the problem is his contract was awful, and he also wasn't good with the Giants. But 100% the Cowboys need to sign Daniel Jones, like right now. That would be hilarious. And I guarantee you, Brent, the game's already going to get massive numbers, even with Cooper Rush and Tommy DeVito as the quarterbacks. But you are going to get record-breaking numbers if the Cowboys sign Daniel Jones. Bet on it right now. No? Who says no? I'll watch that game.
I'd watch it just because there's nothing else on. It's
nothing else on.
But yeah.
But I would watch it
It's more interesting than if he wasn't a Cowboy.
Oh my God, it would be infinitely more interesting than anything that game has to offer us right now. Please, 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 Jerry. I know that, you're not good at your job anymore and you're senile and you're getting older.
Well, maybe that's why he'll do it, is because maybe he won't even realize he did it.
Do it. Next question.
Is Zion Williamson a bust?
So, Shams Charania,
I called that, by the way,
reported today that Zion's not even close to returning with his hamstring injury. Not even close. I saw a video of him recently. He just got a new back tattoo, Brent, and he looks so out of shape. Like, he's fat, he's chubby, he has no muscle definition. And I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, you're never going to get it. You're never going to get it. So he came into the league in 2019. Since 2019, out of a possible, I had it right here, out of a possible 492 games, he has played in 190.
Yeah.
When he's out there, he's a 20 and almost 10 guy. When he's out there,
he's close to 25 and 10 guy when
25,
he actually plays.
So he's 25, 4, and 7. But he just never plays.
I was going to say, his rookie year, he only played 24 games. Then he played 60, but then he only played 29. Then he played 70, and now he's only played 6 this year.
And he's missed a year due to injury. Last year was his best season just because of how many games he played. Not his stats, but just games he played. But now I'm like, when's it going to be enough? He's only 24 years old.
Dude, I remember sitting right here, and me and good old Hartman said,
Steve?
Yes, when this was his senior year in Duke, he's going to be a bust. And Costin, everyone's like, oh, no way is he going to be a bust. He's blah, 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 blah. Me and Steve both said, he's too big. He's going to eat himself out of the league. I compared him to Oliver Miller. He hasn't gotten that fat yet. But, I called this a long time ago. I said that he's overhyped. He was overhyped at Duke, and, he can't stay healthy. So I called this one. Yes.
Congrats. You called a bust.
I am. It just made my Friday.
I don't know if he'll ever be a consistent 70-game player guy, but as of right now, doesn't look like it. Dude's out of shape. He's fat. Sorry, I don't want to fat shame, but he's a professional athlete making millions of dollars.
It's his job to stay in shape. That's his job.
Okay, that's his job. And it's unfortunate because when he's out there, he's an all-star player, but he's just never out there. 190 games he's played since 2019 out of a possible almost 500. It's incredible. Next question, Brett.
Should the 49ers give Brock Purdy a contract extension this offseason?
Well, I was listening to Colin the other day, and they got it wrong. So he's not a free agent after this year because he's still under his rookie year, but he's going into his final year of his rookie deal. So he's eligible for a contract extension this offseason. For Brock Purdy, if this shoulder injury is something that isn't just like a 1 week thing and it's like you might not play the rest of the season type of thing, then it puts the ball back into the Niners' court of, hey, man, we love you. And when you're out there, you're really good. But also, you've kind of been injured a couple times here to your throwing arm with, elbow surgery and, the shoulder. Like, I don't know. I think the Niners are going to try to give him a contract extension this offseason. But I'm looking at this right now, and if they give him a deal greater than Trevor Lawrence, that's a problem. That's a problem. I love Brock Purdy, but a $60 million deal for him would be awful for the team. And it's not just because he's hurt now, and and I know the numbers say that he's played just as well as he did last year, but I've watched every game. He's played actually some really good games, and he's played some really poor games. But, there's only like 4 quarterbacks in the league that should deserve $60 million. And you look what happens. And the reason why I say no to $60 million for Brock Purdy is because I look at what Dak has done to the Cowboys. If you could give a quarterback $60 million and it not cripple your team because you can't pay anybody else, then okay, fine. But, you're only giving $60 million to like 5 dudes, and that's Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, and like, I don't know, maybe Herbert. But even then, I'm like, I don't know. 4 guys at least.
They're starting to venture into like NBA territory of undeserving guys getting like huge deals, like in the NBA, because just the way max contracts are structured, there's no reason in hell that Bradley Beal should make as much money as LeBron James. But they do, because that's how it's set up. And it's just, I think back to, the previous Jaguars quarterback. Remember when Blake Bortles signed that big deal? And he didn't even really want to sign the deal, but pretty much the players union was like, dude, if you don't sign this deal, you're going to be screwing up the quarterback numbers for like the next couple of years. So we don't care if you're acknowledging that you are not worth this money. You're going to sign it and then just let everyone rip you in the press because you signed a contract that you don't really deserve.
And I don't think Brock Purdy's not worth it. I think he deserves a contract extension. I'm just looking at it as like how to build out a roster with a quarterback that makes $60 million. Only like 4 dudes are worth that.
That's kind of my point with the LeBron thing of we don't want the NFL to get in a situation where, like you said, only, if this is basketball, only like 5 or 6 guys should, be getting like the max. Bradley Beal should not get the same amount as LeBron or, Luka or somebody like
Bradley
that.
Beal's a really good player, and he deserves a contract that
but he's on a different tier.
It's
so
for
it's
his
the same
tier.
thing. Brock Purdy should not be on the same tier as Patrick Mahomes.
No, and he should.
And that's not a knock. It's
no,
just
it's not.
Shouldn't.
It's not. He shouldn't. He is, to me, when healthy, he's a top 10, top 12 quarterback in the league. The thing is, it's like you give him $60 million or you give him a Trevor Lawrence contract, then you need him to play like Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow all the time. And that's just not going to happen. He can do that in moments, and he has shown he can do that as well. But it's just, I don't know. It's going to end up in disaster. Whatever. It's fine. Cynthia Freeland will join us at 5 p.m. We'll see if John's going to join us. More Jon and Jim coming up next. Hey guys, it's Jim from Jon and Jim, and the best time of the year is right now with the NFL, college football, and NBA going on. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. And with Underdog, you can win 325 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM, and Underdog's going to give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. All you got to do is pick higher or lower on 2 different players from 2 different teams, and you could win big. Go to their mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code Jon and Jim. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Jon and Jim to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. You must be 18 years or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concern with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. It's NBA Cup night, Brent. Did you know that?
Duh. Doesn't everybody know that?
NBA Cup night. Got a full slate of action.
My Tuesdays and Fridays have never been the same.
Warriors are taking on the Pelicans, the Zion list Pelicans. 4:30. NBA Cup group play. If the Warriors win, we got Sixers, Nets, Wizards, Celtics, your Bucks and Pacers, Rockets, Blazers, Nuggets, Mavericks. That is your group play slate tonight. Oh, and Clippers, Kings. Year 2 of the NBA Cup. Yeah.
It would help if just play with the normal board. It shouldn't be such a big deal, but it just is. I can't sit there for more than 5 minutes, especially
Some points are fine and don't bother me. Whatever, but the Celtics, core, Cavaliers, red core. Some of them look like this red core.
like they always do with those ones. It's over. It's some of these courts. It's like,
it's not getting better. Like the things that they're doing aren't really making that much of a dent, or at least as much of a dent as they hoped and wanted. Like the NBA Cup, I don't think it's doing it for anybody. The amount of new jerseys that are out there for like City Connects and stuff like that, I think fans are confused. And then the All-Star game coming up, fans are going to be confused with that as well. I don't know. The NBA Cup to me it's not doing it. It's just not.
For me, it's just the NBA is doing all these things that nobody asked for. It's, yes, people, myself included, have been bitching about the NBA All-Star game for, close to a decade. You know why? Because they don't play defense, not because, it'd be cool if we just, randomly split these into 3 teams and then included the winner of the, Rising Stars Challenge game. And it's like, no, just find a way to just get them to try, at least a little bit like they used to back in the day. Those games are all watchable because they, at least played a resemblance of defense and they tried. And now it's, it doesn't matter who's guarding. You could be the defensive player of the year and you don't have enough pride. You're just going to let whoever you're guarding blow right by you for some dunk because nobody's going to try.
Well, the one thing that the NBA like has right now that it's a good thing is that the Warriors are good. Steph Curry is always a draw. The Lakers are good. They're always a draw as well. Celtics are good. The Knicks are good in the East. So you have some brands there that can help you out. Like, nothing against teams that I'm going to name off here, but if in the East you had like Orlando and Atlanta as your 2 top teams, and in the West, if you had like Memphis and Denver as your 2 top teams, that ain't doing it for the casual fan. I'm sorry, it's just not. And that's an NBA problem to figure that out. But if you tell me right now the 2 top teams in the West are going to be the Warriors and the Lakers, and the 2 top teams in the East are going to be the Celtics and the Knicks, along with the Cavs, like, okay, I think the casuals can latch on to that. But, the NBA, like OKC, they don't have Kevin Durant on the team anymore. They just don't resonate, even though they're one of the best teams in the league. In the East, Orlando, who, by the way, beat the Lakers last night on a game-winning 3 by Franz Wagner. However you say his name. Magic, they just don't do it. So for the NBA, for this NBA Cup, they're going to have to hope, just like they did last year. It was good ratings. It was actually really good ratings for the NBA Cup. You know why it was good ratings for the NBA Cup? Because LeBron was in it. And it was new.
People wanted to see what it was.
But also LeBron was in it, and the Lakers. If this year you get a Vegas tournament with like the Celtics and the Warriors and the Lakers and like the Knicks, that will draw eyes. Guarantee it.
What I don't want is I don't want them to do what baseball did, to where they're like, oh, hey, we're going to make all these rule changes and do all these things to accommodate people who don't actually like baseball. And, I don't want the NBA to be like, oh, well, we need to do these things to get people that don't like basketball to watch basketball. And, if it pisses off the people that actually like basketball, then, oh, well, we don't care. Kind of like the way baseball did when they were like, oh, we're going to put in all these different rules. And it's like, well, who was asking for some of this stuff? It's like, oh, we just needed to, get new eyes. And it's just like, so you really think that, this is what's going to get, millennials or whatever to watch baseball? It's like, no.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing to track and talk about, like how X sport can get better ratings, because back in the day, baseball didn't have that problem. Basketball didn't have that problem. Football, not having that problem now.
Well, you didn't have as many choices then, back then when
True. You're right.
If you had cable TV that had 40 channels, you're like, you're rich.
Right.
Nowadays, if you have less than 40 channels, it's just like, no thanks. You just have more options. But I don't know, it just seemed like just back in the day, those games were just more competitive and they didn't have to add all these bells and whistles. The game was good enough.
Right now, it's like I can't just watch the game. I need the bells and whistles. That's unfortunate. San Diego Sports 760 celebrating the season with the iHeart Holiday Special, one night to get you in the holiday spirit with exclusive performances from Dan and Shay, Jennifer Hudson, Jimmy Fallon, and Kelly Clarkson, hosted by Mario Lopez, Trader. Listen to the show Wednesday, November 27th at 4 p.m. on Holiday Seasons Radio on our free iHeart Radio app. All right, coming up in this hour.
Slater the Trader.
Coming up this hour, we're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego Seals opening night. Also, I was just told we were giving away tickets to next week's Aztec finale here at Snapdragon Stadium. So we'll give that away later in the show. But breaking news, Brent, I was just informed that Jonathan Schaefer will be joining me and us coming up next. So John from Logan, Utah says that, fine, I'll join the show.
Did you tell him we're gonna bump him for a pre-recorded interview?
No, I did not, Brent. We're gonna bump that pre-recorded interview to later in the show. All right, John's gonna join me. Come up next. All right, this update is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. NFL news of the day. Daniel Jones has been released from the New York Giants. He said his farewell yesterday at a press conference. Brock Purdy is out this weekend with a shoulder injury for the Niners as they take on the Green Bay Packers. First time in 36 games, they will be underdogs there. Moving over to Padres news of the day. The Padres and Tyler Wade have agreed to a 1-year, $900,000 deal for 2025 with a $1 million club option for 2026. And tomorrow, San Diego State takes on Utah State. 10:30 a.m. is when our pregame starts. 12:30 kickoff right here on San Diego Sports 760. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits in one of the country's top workplaces? Join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. That's progressive.com/careers. All right, back here on our brand new 4-hour edition of Jon and Jim. Jim and Brent holding it down till 6 p.m. But we're graced now by Jon Schaefer's presence from Logan, Utah, one of his favorite places ever. Actually, not really. It's, where is it? Park City, Utah? That's where you love. But Jon is joining us from Logan, Utah. It's Utah. Jon, hi.
Hey, well, just a 4-hour show. I feel like I don't know if you could fit everything in.
I really can't. So, I mean, us breaking down the NBA Cup. I need another hour.
Maybe we could go to like a special time of like 7:30, like not 7, but like 7:30 Pacific tonight, just to keep it going, just to fit everything. Yeah. I mean, we can break down every single NBA Cup game. We don't talk much NHL on the show, but we could talk some NHL because why not, right? You know, I think we should. Honestly, I'm going to throw this out for the text line right now because we have an extra hour. If you have an idea, if you want to produce the show,
help us.
70470. Start it with team. Give us a segment idea.
Did you feel today like exhausted?
Oh, I feel terrific.
Oh, you feel terrific. That's great.
I feel absolutely. I mean, I feel exhausted for you. I mean, again, behind the scenes, like a 4-hour solo show, and it's not solo because you have Brent, but I mean, a 4-hour show is a 4-hour show. Like, so, it's fine.
It is what it is. Everything's
fine. What you do for a living. You're talking sports. I mean, this is what we want to do when we're kids.
Everything's great. Everything's fine. Jon, do you buy it? I'm just going to go right into Roki Sasaki. Do you buy that Ohtani is not recruiting him?
No, not really.
Yeah, right.
No. I don't buy any of it. I mean, I think that like we're talking about the business of professional sports, and like it's I mean, it's very competitive, and I think any advantages that a team has over another is something that they likely exploit. I mean, we're not talking about Tyler Wade, with all due respect. I mean, you're talking about landing someone that could impact your organization for the next decade. I mean, certainly the next 6 years. I mean, who knows? We might look up 2 years from today and Roki Sasaki finished top 2 in Cy Young Award voting. So, yeah, no, I think that teams are pulling out the stops. I really believe that. I mean, they probably should. I mean, whether it's San Diego or Los Angeles. Now, again, you hope that it's being done within the scope of like what's permissible. You don't want something to already be locked up, signed, sealed, delivered. That doesn't seem right or reasonable. But are things happening behind the scenes from players or clubs? Probably.
Right. Yeah. I think if the Dodgers have a realistic shot, which they do, at Roki Sasaki, there's no way in hell that Shohei Ohtani is not going to be involved in this. Like the report yesterday or late last night when Ohtani was asked, "Hey, have you recruited or talked to Sasaki yet?" And he was like, "No, I'm not going to talk to him. I'm going to let him make his own decision." That's a bunch of bull, in my opinion, because
I mean, especially in like today's world, I mean, it's so easy to like, I don't buy that there's no like communication. I mean, they're on the same WBC team. They have a familiarity. I don't know the full relationship that they have beyond playing for a world team, so to speak. And that's not like, you play together every year on a WBC team. And it's not like the WBC is a 6-month season, but obviously there's a lot of familiarity between the two. And the fact that they haven't spoken or they haven't had, people on their behalf speak. I don't probably buy that. I don't know what was said a year ago about Yamamoto and Ohtani, and I don't know if any of it was factual or not. Now, the difference with Yamamoto was the Dodgers had the money to do it. So that separated them from a lot of teams. But here it's like you're hoping for some type of level playing field, and the player makes the determination based on like what organization suits them best. But we'd be fooling ourselves. I mean, relationships matter. It's like if you apply for a job, if you're looking to move to a certain city, I mean, relationships matter. We have preconceived notions going into things. Everyone does. I don't know, but then again, maybe a relationship with Yu Darvish is going to matter as well. That's the thing we don't know. We just don't know the strength of some of these relationships, how they're playing out behind the scenes, and how they're going to matter.
Where were you, and were you sitting down when the news broke that Tyler Wade signed a 1-year, $900,000 deal with a $1 million option for 2026?
Well, thankfully, I have Wi-Fi on the plane. Otherwise, I would have been late to that news.
Oh, man.
I think it actually speaks to a couple of things. One of which is when you put together a 26-man roster, 18 of your players are going to make $1 million. When you're the Padres, I mean, that's not accurate, but you get my point. Half of your 26, 13 of your 26 are making $1 million because the other 13 are making a lot of money. So you actually have to have really serviceable pieces because depth has been a Padres issue, and it really worked out with like someone like Jackson Merrill. Tyler Wade, not as much, obviously. I mean, I think he played a role for Mike Schilt, and that's fine. You're always going to have your 25th and 26th players on your roster, and they do have a level of value. But it does expose the fact that, again, unlike LA, and even LA is going to have players on the roster that are making league minimum. It's just fewer than San Diego. I think if we look at it opening day, it'll be interesting to look at. Like when you combine rookies and league minimum, it'll be interesting to see how many players the Padres have that are making like $1 million or less. And my guess would be somewhere in the neighborhood of half their roster. And Tyler Wade's going to be one of those guys. I mean, he's a known commodity. They know what he is. He obviously works in their clubhouse. So I don't honestly. I mean, it probably makes sense. And again, on a 26-man roster, you're not going to have all guys making $10 million a year. So it probably does make sense for the organization.
What do you want to see moving over the Aztecs here? What do you want to see in the last two games here for San Diego State? I thought I thought that up through Washington State, they were really making progress, right? I mean, you saw a team that was, I thought, improving on field week in and week out. And, they had opportunities. They could have beaten Washington State. They didn't. They could have beaten Central Michigan. They didn't. And that's football, obviously. I mean, there are going to be one-possession games. I think they're 2-3 this year in one-possession games. But they clearly had opportunities to win more than the 3 games they've won to this point. I'd like to see them win a close game. I mean, I think it'll be hard to run away from anyone. I think these teams are comparable. Utah State's a favorite. They're at home. They scored 55 points last week, but they have not had a good season. But they have won 2 of their last 3. So I just want to see a team kind of get back to where they were, I thought, at the midway point, where they were playing better football. Wyoming, Hawaii, Washington State. I think that was probably the best run that they had. There was a 3 or 4 week run where they were playing well. And, then they ran into some just really good teams. I mean, Boise State could be one of the best teams in America. UNLV, I think, is one of the best teams in the group of 5. So they've played some really good high-level opponents, not just for the Mountain West, but I think nationally speaking, I think those are 2 of the better programs outside of Power Leagues. You could argue Boise is one of the better programs if you include Power League teams. But, you'd like to see the offense, I think, be, more honed in early because when they score, they've been scoring late. Like they scored late against UNLV, but they struggled to score early. Same thing with Boise State. They fell behind early. I'd like to see them score first. I don't know how many times they've scored first this year, but if they can score first, I just feel like that'll give them a chance on the road. And it'd be nice if they can finish the season by winning a game or 2 here over these final 2 weeks. These are opportunities. Both Utah State and Air Force are opportunities. They can win both of these games if they play well. They're not going to make a bowl game. They could lose one of these final games and finish, with 4 wins again, like they did last year. But I think, you look at the individual performances of some of these guys on this team. How underrated has Marquez Cooper been this season?
I think he's been awesome. I mean, and the reason I say it is like nothing comes easy. There's no shortcuts. It's not gimmicky. I feel like he's been a nice safety net for Danny O'Neil. Because you got a true freshman quarterback next to a 23-year-old. I think Marquez is 23. It's his 5th year in college. You say a veteran player, 22 or 23-year-old next to an 18-year-old. I just feel like it's been a nice safety blanket or net for Danny O'Neill, and they've taken a lot of snaps together. They've been on the field a lot together, right? 90% of Danny O'Neill's snaps this year, Marcus Cooper has been to his left or right. You look at it right now, Jim, he's over 1,000 yards. I think he's like in that 1,060, 1,070 range. You go back-to-back 100 yards here, or, you just add 200 to his total, or 250. I mean, you're talking about a 1,300-yard season, which is a really good season. Obviously, San Diego State's been somewhat, fortunate with the Rashad Pennies and Donald Humphreys and Greg Bells, but it's been a few years since they had someone go over 1,000. You'd have to go back to Greg Bell, I think, in 2021, and it's been even longer since they had someone go over like 12 or 1,300. So again, it's not going to come in a 7 or 8 win season, but you're going to look at the end of the year and you're going to see 1,300 yards. You're going to see 12 or 13 touchdowns. You're going to see 20 plus catches. And he's just like a gamer. He's going to finish his career with over 5,000 career yards. He's just a really damn good football player that happened to spend his senior season at San Diego State. And I'll remember him in his time as an Aztec uniform. He's just a guy that put it all out there, despite the fact that they didn't have the success they were hoping to have. But he's going to go down as having a really good season.
Yeah, just a grinder. Now his average yards per carry, not great. It's his lowest of his career, but that has to do with a very young and hurt offensive line. But yeah, he could end up with potentially 1,200 yards rushing, double-digit touchdowns, 5,000 yards career in college. Like, guy, I agree with you. Guy's a gamer for sure.
Are you doing Trainwreck? Or you want me to stick around for another segment?
Trainwreck? Are we doing Trainwreck? We're not doing Trainwreck. You can go. I got this.
We can't do Trainwreck with you on the phone.
Yeah, you can't do that, John. You can't do that.
Oh, you can't?
No.
No, I mean,
no, we only have 2 lines
for another time. I could talk to you about the NBA Cup on the other side.
Do you have any Daniel Jones takes?
My take is I don't think he's very good.
Do you have?
I don't think the Giants are very good either.
Do you have any Jameis Winston takes?
He's fun to watch. I threw that on last night. I mean, just watching a game in the snow is just fun. And it's one thing to watch a game in the snow. It's another thing to watch it like a sheer blizzard. When you get lake effect and it's inches of snow falling at one time, like that's not every day. You could just have snow falling without it like piling up like that. I mean, I don't know how much snow they got last night in Cleveland during the game, but it had to be like a half foot at least that fell during the game. So it was super fun to watch and kind of funny how Jameis Winston's entertaining. I mean, he's like
hilarious.
Put a bag of popcorn in the microwave and sit down and enjoy it because they're 3-8 and they're not winning Super Bowls and he's past his prime, but he's fun. He's enjoyable. He's entertaining, and that's why people like sports.
Not the cameras, not the action. It's about the action.
It's not about the cameras or the action, but it's about the action. I was talking to Brent about this earlier.
Yeah.
I just wish he was better because if
this,
you know what I mean? Like if
I thought that too, because I was all into it, and then there was a moment late. Now they won the game. It was a moment late where he threw that like the easiest pick in the world.
Right.
Like that Steeler with like 8 minutes. But
dang
it is being played in a blizzard. I mean, that was good TV. For the, you're playing a game in a blizzard. There's like a fight at the end of the game. There's like a Hail Mary. It's freaking just snowing like you wouldn't believe. I have no clue how people got home from that game. There's 70,000 people in a parking lot. There's 6 inches of snow in your car. How long did it take to get home?
Oh, all night. Like I
right.
I wouldn't know what to do.
It takes forever. But the place is packed. They're 2-8. They're showing the crowd. There's like 5-year-olds there.
Right. There's
bundled up. They're 2-8.
There's dudes with shirts off. And there's like, whatever. Yeah. Dog pound. It's like, what?
Crazy.
It's like, we love you, Jameis. Like, okay.
It's amazing. It's Steelers Browns. It's like It's like, that's the beauty of rivalries. It's like it's Steelers Browns. Like it's a big deal. In Cleveland, it's a big deal. Even if you're 3-8, but you've beaten Pittsburgh twice, you've had a damn good year.
Yeah. It's like Brent's Bears. Like if they go 0-6, if they go 2-15, but those 2 wins against the Packers, it's a great season.
I'll take it.
Take it. Yeah, take
that year.
Yeah, take that year. Good year. We don't need you, John. It's okay.
All right. Well, yeah, you're fine. It's only a 4-hour show.
It's only a 4-hour show. We got Cynthia at the top.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore. We got Cynthia Frilly on top of the hour. We have a great recorded interview and Jim's back page.
I like how when we've done most of the heavy lifting and John's like, oh no, you sure you don't want me to come on for like the last 2 segments that we have left on the show?
Yeah, come on, the last 2 segments of the show.
I'm saying I'm willing to hang out.
No, go and get a nice dinner, go relax, and we will talk to you in like 3 weeks. All right.
It's It's like Las Vegas last weekend, Logan this week. It's like the same city. It's
It's
identical.
like it's the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah,
like,
it's the same. They just
it's the same thing.
Everything's the same. Yeah, no, it's great. We'll
Same
just talk
place.
to you in like 2 weeks. It's fine. No, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's
yeah,
fine.
It's good. All right.
That's good. All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Piers, bye. All right. So, yeah, we're good. Cynthia Freeland joined us at the top of the hour. My back page as well. And remember, Aztec football is back tomorrow on the road in the afternoon as they take on Utah State. Pregame with Fletch and JR starts at 10:30 with John and Rich on the call. Kickoff around 12:30 p.m. right here on your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. We're not playing Trainwreck, but we are giving away a prize right now. So 877-767-4760. Again, the number 877-767-4760. We are giving away right now a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego Seals on opening night, Sunday, December 1st at 3 p.m. at Pechanga Arena. 877-767-4760. Caller number 6. Right now, you have won a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego Seals opener on December 1st at Pechanga Arena. 877-767-4760. More Jon and Jim coming up next. All right, Cynthia Freeland's going to join us at the top of the hour here. Real quick, Brent, did you see the story that so Jason Kelsey, it's almost like a little overkill now.
It's been that for a while. Go on.
He is going to host a new sports late night talk show during the NFL postseason on ESPN on Friday nights. And the kicker is, I think it's going to air at like 1 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because Aaron loves Jason Kelsey because she's a Eagles fan. Like, I get it totally. But sometimes a little bit too much. Like, I like Jason Kelsey, but stop shoving him down my throat.
Well, see, that's how I feel about his brother and his brother's girlfriend. Is I don't have a problem with either of them. I get it. Stop shoving it down my throat. Just putting it in my face all the time. I had no problem with Kelsey when he played for the Eagles. I still don't really have a problem with it. It's just kind of annoying. He's just everywhere between his podcast and his brother. They're doing like cereal commercials now for the general. Tried that before.
No, but like it's a brand new like mix.
Well, I know. I'm just saying you could have mixed it before. You could use the Kelsey Brain Trust to be like, you could take Lucky Charms and Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That's difficult. I'm too lazy. I need it in the same box. I don't need to buy
It's not.
cereal and put it together.
It's forgetting Sarah Marshall. Remember, he had his little cereal container that he thought was so cool. Multiple cereals.
So cool. But anyway, yeah. Jason Kelsey will have his own. He announced this last night. I think he was on either Kimmel. I think he might have been on Kimmel or Fallon. I forget which talk show he was on, but he was on a talk show last night and he announced that he is going to start his own talk show on ESPN during the NFL postseason. Kind of intrigued, not really. And it's going to air on Friday nights at 1 a.m. Eastern. So that's 8 Pacific? No, I'm horrible with this. 9 Pacific. No, 10 Pacific, right? 10, 11, 12. Yeah, it'll be on a 10 Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern during the postseason.
See, West Coast people might watch it.
West Coast, yeah.
East Coast is going to be long in bed.
All his fan base, though, is in the East Coast.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like Philadelphia, like that's all his fan base over there.
They're going to DVR it.
And being back East this past weekend, it's a real eye-opener for watching sports. You're like, I'm going to bed on Sunday night, and the Chargers and Bengals are still playing. And it was like 11:30. I was like, what the hell? So more Jason Kelsey for everybody. All right, coming up next, Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network, will join us. Stay with us right here on Jon and Jim. All right, this update is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. We'll start with NFL news of the day. Daniel Jones has been released from the Giants. His tenure there is over. Brock Purdy has been ruled out this weekend for the Niners with a shoulder injury. Moving on to baseball, the Padres and Tyler Wade have agreed to a 1-year, $900,000 deal for 2025 with a $1 million club option for 2026. And tomorrow, San Diego State takes on Utah State, 10:30 a.m. pregame, 12:30 kickoff right here on San Diego Sports 760. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay and benefits in one of the country's top workplaces? Join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. That's progressive.com/careers.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home.
Nobody resonates more than AJ Preller in the trade market. He does go big fish hunting. He does land names. Now, I don't know if names equates to winning a World Series or not. I thought he did a good job last year. My point is there's always going to be top 10 prospects in their organization. When you trade away the top 10 prospects, guess what happens? They backfill.
The problem is it takes some time. Like after the trades of 2022, didn't really make that many moves in 2023. That's what I'm a little afraid of this upcoming season, is that it will take time to rebuild his system.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
Final hour of Jon and Jim on a Friday before the weekend. Jon is in Utah right now because the Aztecs will be playing Utah State tomorrow afternoon. And it's great to be joined once again by Cynthia Freeland, brought to you by Hamul Casino every single Friday or every single week, depending on our schedule and her schedule as well. Cynthia, thanks for joining me. As always, got to start here. The Daniel Jones era is over in New York. Well, how would you describe the Daniel Jones era, and where do the Giants go from here?
I'm just pretty excited that they actually released him as opposed to making him do that weird thing where he has to sit there and watch it. It's better for him. That was such a sad press conference. I felt so bad for him, but look, I think if you're not going to play him and you're going to move on from him, it makes a lot of sense to both release him, and not make him kind of suffer through that. So I hope he finds someplace great. I hope he finds somewhere the rest of this year where he can have what felt like kind of what Sam Darnold did at the end of last year at the Niners. And, he spent the whole year there with them, didn't really get a chance to play very much, but it certainly changed how he felt about the game. And look at his results this year. So I hope something like that happens for him.
All right, hear me out. Dallas.
I know. Thanksgiving.
I need that. Everybody needs that to happen. The game's going to suck because you got Cooper Rush and Tommy DeVito. Both teams are awful. Let's get that thing going. Let's get some intrigue in this game. Give me Daniel Jones versus the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, right?
I mean, if we could, I would love that. It'd be hilarious. I mean, but isn't it wild that they didn't even, it would be weird because we all assumed it would be Drew Lock, right? Just like we all assumed it would be Trey Lance.
Right.
So it'd be so hilarious if it was Daniel Jones versus
Tommy DeVito, right? It's
far more interesting at least.
Oh my God. Infinitely more interesting. The ratings are already going to be big anyway because it's Thanksgiving, but I mean, the story just writes itself.
It writes itself.
I just need that in my life. Cynthia Freeland joining us here on Jon and Jim. Not good news for the Niners, obviously. Brock Purdy out this weekend. Long-term, shoulder injury yet to be determined, but right now in a not do or die, but kind of a must-win game for them. How do you see this one going with, Jordan Love throwing an interception in almost every game this season? He's susceptible to that. No Jair Alexander for the Packers in a must-win game with Brandon Allen as the Niners quarterback in Lambeau. How do you see that one going?
I think, I'm trying to find some area where I feel confident, and I don't really feel confident in much, but I do think you could probably, with 6 teams on a bye, if you're a fantasy owner and you're like, what should I do at running back? Maybe you could play Jordan Mason, because I can see this as a strong run game, a strong situation to kind of keep Brandon Allen away from, even without Ja, their defense is good at turning the ball over. So Xavier McKinney's there. He, has a bunch of turnovers too. So, I mean, I would imagine a strong run potential, very heavy personnel, a lot of 2-3 tight end sets, using that Kyle Juszczyk fullback situation till it's to its strongest.
And I saw this stat a couple days ago, and it just speaks to the issues that the 49ers have had this year. I don't know if you've seen this. Maybe you have, because you're really good at all these numbers. The Lions and the 49ers have the exact same number of red zone trips this season at 41, which ranks 4th in the league, except the Lions are converting 69% of those trips, and the Niners are only converting 48% of those trips. That kind of just tells you like where the Niners are at, right?
Well, yeah. And then obviously you get Christian McCaffrey back. You're like, okay, well, the red zone's going to get better. I don't know if that's the case. I mean, I liked this game before. I liked the opportunity for George Kittle, because like inline tight ends who are lined up as inline receivers are really not a great matchup for, like, they're very strong in favor of the offense and not good for the Packers defense. But now I mean, their red zone woes, and then you remember, like, they've had special teams issues. Like, this is just not the Niners year.
No, it's really not, especially after the heartbreaking loss in the Super Bowl. Rarely do you see teams come back after that. The Super Bowl hangover. It's a real thing. Absolutely. Cynthia Freeland joining us here on Jon and Jim. How fun is Jameis Winston? And doesn't it kind of suck that, like, he's like, don't you wish that he was better? Because he's just so fun to watch.
I mean, Jameis Winston's like I would love to have like a running, like if he could just like do his full inner monologue for like the whole day.
Yes.
Like what do you think it'd be like for him to like order a coffee? You know what I mean?
Oh
like
my
just or like do whatever his day is. Like he's hilarious.
Yeah, we need a NFL like network camera following him around wherever he goes, because the way that he talks, and it's just hilarious.
What do you think? Yeah.
Jameis Siri, like it's just a great thing to watch there. Are you concerned at all that the Steelers lost last night, or do you just chalk that up to like a hard fought divisional game? Oh, and by the way, it was in the snow.
My only problem and my asterisk on that is that when you are in the AFC North, you kind of can't have those moments. I mean, the Ravens are right coming for you. And if you're going to have those, if you're going to have a down game, just make sure the play calling feels like you've set yourself up for success, and your clock management feels like you've set yourself, like it just feels like there were some things there where you're like, oh, what did I see? Like, what was that? So as much as I'd like to be like, no problem, I'm not worried about it. They showed you a blueprint for shutting TJ Watt down. I mean, those chips were great, and sure, it's in the snow, and that is a big deal. But like, I don't know. I was a little more concerned about some of the things I saw.
Well, like with what exactly with the Steelers?
One, the TJ Watt, like really neutralizing him, like showing them how to chip him so that it gets to him is a big deal. Two, I know Jaylen Warren was good, but like Najee Harris was confoundingly not good. And then you have some of the calls like to maintain the clock management at the end of the game just were not ideal from the giving yourself a chance to win standpoint.
Yeah, and the Steelers, that's going to be a division that is up for grabs, and the Ravens playing on Monday night against the Chargers. That's a big game for both teams. What has been the biggest difference with the Chargers this year, sitting at 7-3?
I think a lot of it has to do with, first of all, their defense has played really well. I don't know if I think that they are the best defense or as good or strong as some of the stats might suggest. However, I think what you have seen is such consistency with upside from Justin Herbert. I mean, the number of games that he's had with at least a 90 passer rating and like not turning the ball over has been really phenomenal. And that, it sounds very unsexy, but when you can, win in the trenches, when you can play good defense and your quarterback's keeping everything, manageable, and consistent, that is a formula for success. Again, it's not sexy, but it's a formula for success.
Of the rookie quarterbacks this season, Cynthia, I mean, Bo Nix to me is kind of quietly becoming the best of the rookie class. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I still think Jaden Daniels has something to say about that.
Okay.
I mean, Bo Nix has been great,
Mhm.
and I think there's a lot to be said about Bo Nix's, first of all, his trajectory in this league, like not just this year, but going forward. Like, he kind of had that, like, sometimes Sean Payton had the season we're like, okay, it was coach speak, right? Like, do we believe what he's going to say when he's like, yeah, we're going to start off by leaning on our defense, and then we're going to ask him to do, smartly use his legs and then do some things, in the air and fold it out as he starts to see defenses better. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's the ideal situation. Everyone would love that. And then that's actually happened.
Right. Yeah. No, it's
which is wild.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, oh, he actually, what he said has come to fruition here. Oh, that's an interesting thing there. Final one here. Cynthia Freeland joined us, NFL Network every Friday, brought to you by Hamul Casino. NFC, the two top teams to me, tell me if you agree. Eagles and Lions. Is there anybody else you put in that category with those two teams?
If the Vikings were in the South, you'd be like, the Vikings are right up there too. It just feels weird because they're in the same division as the Lions, is what I think. I mean, that run defense specifically and the ability, we all talked about. I feel like, all you hear is like, hey, did you know that Brian Flores blitzes? Just so you know, Brian Flores blitzes. Like, we talk about it all the time. But they quietly have 23 sacks without using the blitz. And they don't really blitz on third down. And not all blitzes are created equal. So when I'm watching this team, I think they have a lot of upside. And it's hard when you lose your left tackle. But I think Cam Robinson will start to look better as well. So I don't think they're out of it yet by any stretch of the imagination.
And it's going to be at the end of the year, potentially a team with, 12 wins is going to be a wild card team on the road in the
wild.
Yeah, exactly. Because
you could conceivably have a team in the South that is like, you could have an 8-win team in the South that has to go to the playoffs.
Right, exactly. And then in the North, it's like one of the best divisions in football, you could argue. Right. And one of those teams is going to have to go on the road to face a South opponent. And it's just, that's the whole thing about the playoffs. Like, you have a really, really good division and it's, out of your control, but a 12 or 13 win team could be a wild card team. And that's just how good that division is. Cynthia, thanks for joining us. We won't talk to you next week because it's Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your time with family, and we'll catch up with you following that. Okay.
Happy Thanksgiving. Don't worry. My dogs will give you a little howl for you next time.
Perfect. Hi, Gordy. Thanks, Cynthia. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. Cynthia Freeland there of the NFL Network. And of course, Cynthia is brought to you by Hamul Casino, 7 restaurants, thrilling games, and a sports pub voted San Diego's best. Hamul Casino is fun above all else. All right, coming up, more on Jackson Merrill's amazing rookie season. Also, somebody who voted for Jackson Merrill for Rookie of the Year. You'll hear from him. All that coming up next. Hey guys, it's Jim from Jon and Jim, and Hamul Casino Monday Night Live is a great contest going on right now. One lucky winner each week. You could win a Mercedes-Benz C-Class every Monday night in November. You can earn entries all month long by playing, and on Tuesdays you can earn entries 2 times on Tuesdays. That's a great promotion. Not only could you win a Mercedes-Benz C-Class, but their poker tournament, their Run Good Road Trip poker tournament, happening right now through the weekend at the rooftop with a $200,000 guaranteed prize pool. It's an event that you do not want to miss. If you visit their website, you can get more details there, or you can see any poker room team member this weekend. Thanksgiving right around the corner. You can celebrate Thanksgiving all month long at Burgers and Shakes with their Turkey Day Melt, or indulge in a Thanksgiving calzone at the pizzeria. Then on November 28th, you can join them at Tony Gwynn's Endless Dining for football and all your favorite Thanksgiving dishes. Tony Gwynn Sports Pub is a great place to watch a sporting event. NFL, NBA, NHL. You can experience all the sports action there. Plus, the food is delicious. Highly recommend when you go there to get the Slam Diego burger with the truffle fries. You will thank me later. Humboldt Casino is fun above all else. All right, coming up at the bottom of the hour, you'll hear from Dan Zimborski. He actually was one of the 7 voters that voted for Jackson Merrill for Rookie of the Year. So you'll hear his explanation on why he voted for him. He knows ball. And so we'll hear from Dan Zimborski at the bottom of the hour. And, the week wraps up here, Brent, with just some final thoughts on Jackson Merrill. And after this, we'll move on. We'll completely move on because
Will you?
I will. Yes, because next week's Thanksgiving, and then after that, the hot stove will start to eventually pick up. Like things will start to happen. So then we'll reach December, and then the winter meetings, and there's going to be moves. Like, there was already a move today. The Reds traded Jonathan India to the Kansas City Royals. Not the biggest of moves, but it is a move nonetheless. In baseball, that's not going to make any headlines. But Jonathan India, nice player, got traded to the Kansas City Royals.
Speaks with the Royals. I saw a couple months ago. The Babylon Bee, the satire site.
Yeah,
they did a story a couple hours ago. Said the headline was Kansas City Royals out of Juan Soto sweepstakes as he asked for more than $50K a year and an Amazon gift card.
Those two, that's hilarious. Breaking news: the Oakland A's are out of the Juan Soto sweepstakes. Damn it! I know, darn it. So eventually things will start heating up. All the non-tenders are happening today because there was a deadline today. So if a player was not non-tendered, by the way, they would have signed him. They did. And he's, like John said, you're going to eventually have on your roster a handful of guys making $1 million because you need that. You need that, or else you can't have a roster where you're the last guy in the roster making $10 million. That's just getting off. Even the Dodgers, look at their roster. Guys like Kike Hernandez, Tommy Edman, were guys that were making nothing. And they had a huge postseason. Not saying Tyler Wade's going to have a huge, year next year, but you need some guys like that can fill in, utility guy, Not an everyday player, but he can give you some spot starts here and there. And he's also a guy that's good in the clubhouse. Like, people liked him a lot. He got along with everybody, and no one had a bad thing to say about Tyler Wade. Schulte loved the guy, and so it's an easy decision.
Wadey was one of those things too that, you always say in like football, to where if somebody doesn't know your name, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because that means you're not screwing up, to oppose like, if I'm missing blocks all the time to where they know my name because I'm effing up all the time. Wadey just went out there and, he played his part all year.
Put his head down, did his job.
He didn't go out there and have like any big errors or really do any.
He actually kind of did at the end of the year, and then they finally shut him down. But I get your point. Like,
but for the most part, he did what he was supposed to do. He wasn't supposed to go out there and be, Fernando Tatis or, Jackson Merrill or anybody like that. So.
If the Padres are good next year, you're not going to see a lot of Tyler Wade in August and September. But you can see some chunks of Tyler Wade, in
earlier in the year,
right? Because it's a long season, and you're going to need guys to step in, guys that can play multiple positions. Wadey can play multiple positions, and so with that, it's a nice piece to bring back. It's not the end all be all, but he's still a nice piece to bring back. And I guess you could say this is the first move of the offseason. Like, major league move of the offseason. Like, they've signed some players to fill out the 40-man roster, but the guys aren't going to be on the major league club on opening day. Tyler Wade is most likely going to be on the roster opening day, and this is, I guess, considered the first move. And then we'll see going forward. I'm hoping that the trajectory of the Padres offseason goes on an upward tilt, and not things like, oh, the Padres are trading Luis Ariz, or the Padres are thinking of trading Dylan Cease, or, not giving out contracts to Jerkson Profar because they want to save a couple of $1 million, or, things like that. And then all of a sudden you see Juan Soto, and, oh my God, he signed with the Dodgers. And then, Ha-Seong Kim, not going to tip the scales at all, but, oh my God, he just signed with the Giants, which I would be very surprised if he does not sign with the Giants. And then Roki Sasaki, he's going to the Mets, or he's going to the Phillies, or he's going to the Dodgers. Like, any team in the National League that gets Roki Sasaki other than the Padres, that's going to be a bummer. It's going to be an absolute bummer. And we're just in wait and see mode. And a couple weeks from now, that's when the hot stove will start truly heating up. Rumors will start flying. And, when your team goes to the postseason, it feels like a shorter offseason. But for some reason, Brent, I don't know, it just has not felt like that. Like in 2022, that offseason went by like that. Like, it was very quick. Last year, it went by quicker because the Padres were in the middle of everything. Juan Soto trade, they needed a new manager, talking about who's going to be the Padres manager for like a month and a half, maybe actually shorter than that. But you get my point. It's this offseason, there's no drama yet. And that's a good thing.
I think it seems like it takes long. It goes by faster for me when they do nothing at the beginning, and then like the last,
like a fury.
Yeah, then they just go crazy in like the last month of it. I don't know. That's baseball's thing. Is like, the NFL rules their off season. The NBA tries to do what they can in their off season to be relevant. Then baseball's just baseball.
Baseball is just baseball. So we will wait on all of that. If you want to send in a talk back, just hit us up on the talk back mic. Just open the free iHeartRadio app. Listen to San Diego Sports 760 and tap that little microphone icon next to the play button and leave a 30-second talk back. Of course, today the question was, who, in your opinion, had the better rookie season in franchise history, Jackson Merrill or Benito Santiago? No wrong answers. None. No wrong answers. Just my opinion was, to me, it was Jackson Merrill. And that's where I'll leave it at that. I'm sure the talkback line is just loaded, Brent, huh? I'm sure it's just loaded with talkbacks. So many people are just chiming in on this hot topic debate of who had the better rookie season in franchise history, Jackson Merrill or Benito Santiago. The system is just crashing right now because we have so many talkbacks. just crashing. But while Brent looks for that, coming up next, Dan Zimborski, who did vote for Jackson Merrill for Rookie of the Year, one of the smart ones that actually knew who to vote for. We'll hear what he had to say and why he voted for him coming up next. Also, my back page at the end of the show. Stay with us as Jon and Jim. All right, this update is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. NFL news of the day. Daniel Jones officially released from the New York Giants. Brock Purdy, he is ruled out for this weekend's game for the Niners against the Green Bay Packers. San Diego State takes on Utah State tomorrow afternoon in Logan, Utah. 12:30 kickoff. Our pregame starts at 10:30 a.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. And the Lakers, they take on the Nuggets tomorrow night. 7:30 tip time. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760 as well. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits in one of the country's top workplaces? Join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. That's progressive.com/careers. All right, so the one person who did vote for Jackson Merrill for the Rookie of the Year was Dan Zimborski of Fangraphs, and he joined us earlier this week to talk about the reasoning why he voted for Jackson Merrill. It's pretty interesting. Take a listen to this.
Well, it was a very, very close vote. I could have gone either way, and I'll probably regret it about 50 times in the next 2 weeks, especially when someone's very angry with me. But the general idea is that when you look at WAR and different measures of performance, they were very close depending on how you look at it. And, when someone has, 5.3 WAR, another player has 5.1 WAR, that's not actually meaningful. You want to use statistics properly, and they don't separate that finely. So I kind of had to look at kind of the context that their performance was in. And in the case of Merrill, he was up from opening day, never playing AAA ball. He had like 6 weeks in AA. He also, while adjusting to this big leap offensively, he was playing a new position that he had never played before spring training, at least professionally. I don't know what he was playing in Severna. But he had 5 games in the outfield last season and left, and he was the starting center fielder all of a sudden for a team that traded away Juan Soto and had what looked to be a pretty weak left field, center field situation coming into the year. So that was a pretty difficult task he had to face. And I think that's enough to just give me that slight edge over him. And in the case of Skeens, he got to kind of come along in the minors. He got to pitch, he got to dominate AAA hitters for a while. And I think it's just a little bit easier a path to walk.
So I looked at this award and I wasn't going to get too upset about it because Paul Skeens had a great year. Like, it wasn't like he did not have a great year. They both had really, really good seasons. And when I look at, the votes and your reasoning, I love hearing your reasoning because it's mostly, and tell me if I'm wrong, based on actual on the field play. And then I see some people that voted for Paul Skeens use reasons like, well, national media hype, or he was the first overall pick. Do you think that should factor into voting at all, or should it be primarily like on the field actual play?
It should be what they play. I mean, what kind of bothered me is people who were mad at me said, well, if Skeens had been up for a month, he would have continued to pitch like that. But he didn't. Those starts in April in the majors, they never happened. Right. And you can't give players credit for things they don't do. I mean, I never pitched a Cy Young. I never pitched a no-hitter. You don't give me credit for that.
Right.
You only get credit for what you actually do. And I think Skeens is going to have a great career. He probably has the higher upside. Just if he can stay healthy, he's a pitcher. I mean, he's incredible to watch. I just think that in the end, Merrill had just a slightly more compelling case for Rookie of the Year. And I'm happy I wasn't the only one because I've had that happen before, and that was not fun on social media for a couple of weeks.
No doubt about it. Well, 7, a lot of West Coast voters, 2 in San Diego. There were a couple of other West Coast voters that went. Yeah, LA as well. That went for Jackson Merrill, who you don't have to defend it. I mean, his year speaks for itself. And I think Paul Skeens' year speaks for itself as well. Here's my question for you, Dan, because you crunched the numbers. What does Jackson Merrill's 2025 realistically look like? Like, is there improvement in there? And if there is, what does that look like for Merrill?
Well, one of the dangers is, I mean, people talk about a sophomore slump, but that's not really a thing. But it is common for players to take a little step back because baseball is a game of continual adjustment, readjustment, readjustment. He's probably going to have, a 3.5 to 4.5 win season, probably similar to 2024. But then he's likely to show long-term growth from there. I think if you could tell the Padres, hey, he's going to have that same season forever, I don't think anyone would complain about it.
No, it was a fantastic season for him. Dan, how hard is it for awards like this, Rookie of the Year, to compare a position player to a pitcher, a guy who played 156 games, was on a team that won 93 games, was the middle of that lineup, to a guy who only pitched 23 games, appeared in 23 games, and his team didn't even get close to the postseason? How hard is it to compare those two?
It can be really hard because you are comparing in a large sense apples and oranges, but you have to compare apples and oranges. Like you're at the grocery store, apple juice and orange juice are usually right next to each other. So on some level, you do have to compare. It was easier when you were comparing Merrill compared to say Churio because they both played, roughly the same position, had the same kind of context, wild card teams. They both improved as the season went on, and it was easy to give Merrill the edge over him. But when you're comparing a hitter to a pitcher, you have to kind of still sum it up in wins or runs or some kind of just something you can compare with, and that can be tricky.
Dan Szymborski from Fangraphs with us right now on Jon and Jim. Dan, as you look at the Padres offseason, if you're in charge here and you're AJ Preller, and they're probably dealing with some financial constraints, maybe they want to stay under the CBT. They haven't said that directly, but what's your first order of business coming off a 93-win season? They got close but didn't get by the Dodgers. What do you do now if you're Preller?
I think, well, first you do have to get a sense of how you're going to what kind of money you have, and if the CBT is an issue, that's a pretty big issue because that is a pretty big deal. Let's just say I do think they need outfield help. Even if you brought Profar back, you're not necessarily going to get Profar's 2024 again, and he's not going to be the same cost this time around. So I do think they need to look for an outfielder. I think, given that there are going to be some financial strains, no matter what, they're not going out and signing Juan Soto back to San Diego this offseason. I think they have to be just opportunistic, leap on those values, leap on some players that have some risk but an upside. That's kind of the thing the Dodgers do, and it's not a bad approach. Have all those lottery tickets, as many as you have in the spring, and see who works out. I think they're in a pretty good place right now. Not top tier in baseball, but I think they're playoff contenders if nothing dramatically changes.
Dan, back to the Rookie of the Year voting. When the tallies and the votes came out, and you saw that it was 23-7 in favor of Paul Skeens, were you surprised by kind of how it wasn't really close, or were you not surprised? Given the results.
It was kind of about what I expected. As I said, I didn't really want to be against 29-1.
Yeah.
Because I did that once with Jonathan India, and I'm from the Cincinnati Baseball Writers Association chapter. So the local guy is the one who denied the unanimous victory.
Oh, wow.
Which had a couple of weeks of hate. Nothing like that this time. Skeens was the flashier player. He did have, the pizzazz, the hype around him. He has, he has a famous girlfriend. He filmed from the set that looked like a Brandy commercial when they were doing the MLB TV rundown. I'm not surprised by it, and he's certainly deserving. I think either player was deserving, but unfortunately, when you cast your vote, you are not allowed to make ties.
Right. Yeah, no doubt about it. What does the Jackson Merrill extension look like in your eyes? Like, we saw the Corbin Carroll deal. Is it similar? I think Carroll was 8 years, 111. Is that the floor, so to speak, or what would you do if you were the Padres in this situation?
You might have to go a little farther than that, simply because another year has passed. A little less service time. I think you're definitely going to have to go significantly into nine figures. But the good news is that there's a lot of arbitration year left, so the team does have some leverage. They're not going to have to pay $350 million or anything. But it's certainly good to have these conversations and see what the parameters would be if there was to be an extension.
What's the danger? Let's say Merrill does the exact same thing next year without an extension. Where does that price go? He's 2 years in. Like, let's say you could get it done right now, 8 years, 120. What's the price if he does the exact same thing next offseason?
If he does the exact same thing, the risk is a lot less. The leverage is a lot more. Padres won't have the same leverage over him simply because he'll be closer to arbitration. The price will go up very quickly. The Orioles are in a similar position with Gunnar Henderson, that really every month they don't sign him, he probably adds another $10 million or so to his bottom line. He's going to be a very wealthy man soon, I think.
No doubt about it. Dan, we appreciate it. Thanks for hopping on here in San Diego and explaining your vote for Jackson Merrill.
Always fun, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, there was Dan Szymborski talking about why he voted for Jackson Merrill. All right, some breaking news for the Padres, Brent. Not like big time breaking news, but a couple
bigger than the Wadey news. No way.
Well, I do have something on Tyler Wade here. So the Padres, let me just pull this up. The Padres have announced a couple moves. They announced their signing a contract agreement with Tyler Wade for the 2025 season, the club option for 2026. They have non-tendered these 4 players, meaning they will become free agents. Logan Gillespie, Luis Patino, Bryce Johnson, and Mason McCoy. So the 33 players on their 40-man roster have either been signed or tendered contracts for 2025. So I then see on my timeline, Tyler Wade 5 minutes ago post LFGSD with a couple of heart emojis. So I was going to like retweet it, and I go to his account and I find out that I'm blocked.
What?
Do you think Tyler Wade listens to the show because we have made fun of Tyler Wade a couple times? Not made fun of him, but
mostly just because of his nickname.
Wadey.
That was more on Chilty than it was him. He didn't pick his nickname. He's not Kobe.
I'll have to go back into my archive, and I may have said some things on social media about Tyler Wade, like he probably like wasn't like, and maybe that's why I got blocked. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm blocked by Tyler Wade. I don't know what to make of that right now.
Just wait. Someday he'll get a podcast and then he'll unblock you like Hosmer did.
Maybe, but
once he needs your likes to promote his podcast.
Yeah, I'm blocked by Tyler Wade, everybody. So there it is. It is what it is. I'll accept it. I said some things about Tyler Wade this past year that he probably didn't like. He probably saw and he blocked me for it. Anyway, my back page. We'll finish up the show coming up next.
Stop letting high interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Listen up, homeowners. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home's equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's all-new Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven technology to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out all their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Huge money, instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you could be credit card debt free. Don't wait. Get your cash fast. Call 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. 619-207-4336, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
All right, final stop for Jon and Jim on the Friday. Tomorrow, of course, Aztecs taking on Utah State. 12:30 kickoff, 10:30 pregame. Listen to Fletch and Jared Tolberg here to get you ready for the Aztecs' final road game of the season. Here, San Diego Sports 760 is celebrating the season with the Holiday I Heart Special. One night to get you in the holiday spirit. Exclusive performances from Dan Shea, Jack Hudson, Jimmy Fallon, and Kelly Clarkson, hosted by Mario Lopez. To the show Wednesday, November 27th at 4 p.m. on Holiday Seasons Radio, our free iHeart Radio app. It's wild that we are already at Thanksgiving and that the year is almost done. Like, I got married this year. Like, what? It's just kind of crazy how these years are going by faster and faster.
Yeah, you know what else is crazy? They just showed the highlights of the Celtics and the Wizards for their court you're talking about. Yeah, you remember how I said all the courts look like someone like an artist art court? Washington's court is like this whole abysmal colored like I know it's just like why? Oh, they have actual colors that represent the team that you could have used. Where did you be like pink? I like pink a lot. I get if there's in their colors. It's just they gotta put some fancy colors in the court. All right, Brent, let's get to it. Did you see this banana the art thing? Yeah.
Banana that was duct taped to like a I don't know,
like a frame or whatever,
like a frame or something, and it went on sale and somebody bought it for $6.2 million, and then the person who bought it says he's going to eat it. Why?
Because apparently that dude has FU money and he can do that.
I mean,
her.
So a sculpture of a duct tape banana was sold on Wednesday for a whopping $6.2 million. The person said this is not just an artwork. It represents a culture phenomenon that bridges the worlds of art, memes, and cryptocurrency community. I believe this piece will inspire more thought and discussion in the future and will become part of history. The only reason why it's become part of history is because it's so freaking stupid.
Yeah, whatever. Get a little more pretentious. That's what the same dude said that painted that portrait of the Uncrustable.
That's actually like art, though.
Well,
legitimate art. This is just I can take a banana and throw it on a whatever.
But it's still a painting of a friggin' Uncrustable.
But it's still a really good painting.
Yeah, but it's of an Uncrustable. It's not like the Mona Lisa. It's just like, oh, and here's Picasso's PB&J Uncrustable. It's just like, no. It's just like, who would pay that much money for a painting of an Uncrustable?
I would much rather have a painting of an Uncrustable.
I wouldn't pay that much money for any of that.
No, I wouldn't either. But if you said I had to choose, I'm choosing the Uncrustable because it's actually art. This, me and you could do in 3 seconds.
Well, I'd choose the Uncrustable just because it's not going to spoil because it's a piece of fruit.
Dude, I mean, whoever bought that for $6.2 million has some real FU money.
That or they have dementia, one of the two.
Just unreal. Just absolutely unreal. Moving on. LeBron and Bronny's NBA jersey that they wore during their first father-son game in the NBA has gone up to auction.
The pair?
Like both of them,
okay.
Yeah. The bidding has already reached $35,000 in its first hour of auction. That thing, I mean, look. Okay. I'm surprised that they didn't keep the jerseys themselves because, it's LeBron and Bronny, but
he'll probably buy it.
$35,000 for both jerseys. Okay. All right. I guess. Do you know what the rarest N64 game in the world is, Brent?
N64? No.
This is dubbed the rarest N64 game in the world because it was only available at Blockbuster. The game is called Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut.
Oh, yeah, I know that game.
It was only available at Blockbuster, and the game's manual once sold for $3,800. Right now, the actual game, one of the rarest N64 games in the collection world, sold for a small fortune this week at Heritage as a sealed copy of Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut, sold for $175,000.
That's crazy. I know why it was sealed, because that game sucked.
Yeah, but
so it was just like picture Mortal Kombat only with like Gumby characters.
So
because that's what it was. It was all like claymation.
Yeah. So I guess you can't, like, you only could have got this at Blockbuster.
That version for N64. They had it for different systems. That's how I'm familiar with it. But I didn't know they had an exclusive Blockbuster edition.
Interesting. I would never buy anything for that much. $175,000. The only thing I would buy for that much is like a house, but
picture of an Uncrustable.
And houses cost like 3 times that. Actually, sorry, 5 times that. No, sorry, like 9 times.
You live
that.
in California.
Yeah,
20 million times that.
10 times that. 10 times that. Delta Airlines, Brent, is going to start serving Shake Shack burgers on their flights.
Nice.
Starting December 1st, first class passengers. So not me and you.
Oh, not nice.
Yeah. First class passengers on flights over 900 miles departing from Boston can pre-select a Shake Shack cheeseburger as their meal option. The collaboration will expand to other U.S. markets throughout 2025.
Doesn't that seem like that's not snotty enough for first class?
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Because like, I totally picture like first class people drinking champagne and eating caviar, not like, oh yeah, I want that, Shake Shack burger.
Shake Shack. Shake Shack is delicious.
Oh, I like it too, but
I love Shake Shack.
I'm
like
also
Shake
not
Shack.
a rich first class, person.
I like Shake Shack. I think the Habit is delicious. Habit's very underrated for me. I love Habit Burger.
I haven't been there yet.
It's so good. It's really good. Actually, you would hate it because they have, if you get their regular Habit Burger, their char burger, it has grilled onions on it. So you would actually hate it. So yeah, just fly first class out of Boston and you get some Shake Shack burgers. Spend $5,000 on first class tickets and get a Shake Shack burger instead of like a filet mignon or some shrimp or whatever else.
I'll trade all that leg room for one burger.
Pizza Hut has officially entered the gaming accessory market, and it feels like it's too good to be true. A PS5 compatible contraption designed to keep your pizza warm while you play, dubbed the Pizza WRMR. This unique device is sure to catch the attention of gamers and pizza enthusiasts alike. Unveiled last week, the Pizza WRMR might initially sound like an elaborate April Fool's Day prank, but the idea of a Pizza Hut branded 3D printed plastic box that channels the heat from your PS5 to keep food warm seems like a far-fetched concept straight out of the marketing brainstorm. However, Pizza Hut assures us that the Pizza WRMR is very real and that it will keep your pizza warm while you game. Huh?
Yeah, that's stupid. The PS5 doesn't get that hot anyways. That it would
it's basically like a Pizza Hut box, and you just open it up and you put your pizza in it, and your PS5 will keep the pizza warm while you game.
Yeah, no, and then all the grease will go onto the top of your plates, and no thanks.
Yeah, no, thanks. And finally, I don't know if you read this the other day, Brent, maybe last week, but I mentioned to you that Reese's is planning to offer a half-pound peanut butter cup at select Walmart locations. This is brought back its iconic half-pound peanut butter cup, a single-pack version available in Canada, Walmart stores in the U.S. So a half-pound peanut butter cup?
We used to do it at like 7-Eleven. I want to say it was like $20. But now I love this weird stuff that I do. That's why I won't buy it. I buy it. The way I am, about 11:30, 12, that's gone. I need it all.
All right, that will do it. 4-hour edition on a Friday of Jon and Jim. Stay right here. Sports 760. Great rest of your night, everybody.